His pen tip scratched on the paper for a long time, leaving only a few ink marks, like a dry river bed. Inspiration. Ha, that thing evaporated along with the readers who laughed at him after he wrote his first short article for the school magazine in his freshman year of high school. Jiang Chen, your article reads like boiled water, it's boring. The seniors in the literary club once shook their heads like this, their voices full of pity. The classmates around him were whispering, and some deliberately raised their voices. Oh, I heard that Jiang Chen got stuck again. I thought he was the next Gu Sheng, but he couldn't even touch the threshold of the club. Those words were like needles piercing his heart. He lowered his head and gritted his teeth, clenching his fists until his knuckles turned white, but he could only pretend not to hear. Being introverted like him, he never dared to refute. He could only toss and turn at night, questioning whether he was really not worthy of writing. Today is his birthday, he turns 18. No one remembers and no one celebrates. My mother leaves early and comes home late, and my father's shadow is only the cigarette butt in the ashtray. He sneaked into the canteen alone, bought a cheap candle and a box of matches, and hid on the dormitory balcony. The setting sun was like blood, staining the mottled iron railings red. He inserted the candle and lit it. The flame swayed in the breeze, making a slight crackling sound. The wax oil dripped, exuding a faint sweet fragrance, mixed with the smoky smell of the barbecue stall downstairs in the dormitory. I hope, inspiration will flow from me. He closed his eyes and murmured, took a deep breath, and blew out the candles. The smoke curled up, as if carrying his despair, it floated into the night sky. There was a ding, and there was an unusual noise coming from the drawer of the bedside table. He was stunned, pulled it open and saw a notebook he had never seen before lying there quietly. The cover is made of dark blue leather, which feels smooth and silky, with slightly golden edges, like an antique crawling out of an old bookstore. It is completely blank, but in the middle of the page, there is a line of small gold characters, record life, inspiration comes from. Jiang Chen's heartbeat accelerated, thinking it was an hallucination, he rubbed his eyes and opened them again. With the lingering warmth of his wish still on his fingertips, he picked up the pen in a strange way and wrote down the first line. The campus bell rang, the classmates laughed and ran, I sat alone on the bench, my inspiration was as dry as a desert. The bells of the campus surged like a tide, piercing the muggy afternoon air, mixed with the muffled sound of basketballs hitting the ground on the playground and the high-pitched laughter of the girls. The sun shines on the tree-lined avenue, lengthening the shadows of the running students. They sit in small groups, discussing the latest inter-school writing competition. The air is filled with the green smell of freshly cut lawns and the aroma of fried chicken nuggets from the distant cafeteria. But Jiang Chen was like a forgotten stone, huddled on a bench in the corner of the teaching building, with a crumpled notebook spread out in front of him, the blank pages glaring mockingly. In the early morning of the next day, the sun was dazzling. Jiang Chen rushed to the classroom with his notebook in his arms, his heart churning with the ecstasy of last night. Qin Feng blocked the door as usual, his tall figure blocking half of the door frame, and his passionate laughter made the window glass buzz. Brother Chen. Are you in a daze again? The writing competition is open for registration, and you still haven't moved. That guy Gu Sheng won the championship last year, and he will defend his title this year. Our class can't be embarrassed. Qin Feng patted him on the shoulder with such force that Jiang Chen staggered, and the girls around him snickered. Qin Feng is his best friend. He is outgoing and likes to get him into trouble. He has dragged him to sign up for various competitions since elementary school, but he always failed because of Jiang Chen's stuck. Where's your inspiration? Don't tell me and it's a waste of time. Qin Feng winked, his voice loud enough for the whole class to hear, and someone echoed, yes, Jiang Chen, I got goosebumps after reading Gu Sheng's The Broken Shadows of the Galaxy, can you do it? Jiang Chen blushed to the base of his ears, lowered his head and said nothing, but the fire in his heart was doused even more. Gu Sheng, a genius writer and the ace of the literary club, has already published a collection of short stories in his senior year of high school. The eyes of campus goddesses light up when they mention him. It is said that he never got stuck and always wrote golden sentences. Teacher Han Xiao personally named and cultivated him. Jiang Chen bit his lip, and the golden words in the notebook flashed through his mind. After school, he followed Qin Feng to the door of the literary club. On the poster of the club, there was a handsome and stern picture of Gu Sheng, and next to it was the championship list over the years: Gu Sheng, Gu Sheng, Gu Sheng. The girls passing by commented, "Senior Gu Sheng is so handsome, and his works are so heart-wrenching, who dares to challenge him?" Jiang Chen clenched his fists with sarcasm like a knife, and his nails dug into his palms. Just as he was looking down in distress, a lively figure on the side of the playground came into view. Qiao Zhixia is a school belle-level girl, with her ponytail swaying like a waterfall in the sunshine and her laughter as clear as a bell. She was wearing a white dress, the hem of which flew up as she ran, and the faint scent of her citrus perfume floated in the air. The boys around her looked at her intently, and someone whistled, "Zhixia, come to the playground to play." She moved out of the way skillfully, but accidentally bumped into Jiang Chen's notebook. With a bang, the notebook fell to the ground. Qiao Zhixia bent down to pick it up and blinked. "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you, Jiang Chen? From the literary club?" Her fingers touched the cover lightly, and the warm touch made Jiang Chen's heart skip a beat. He hurriedly snatched it back, only to see her staring curiously. "This book is so special, what's written in it?" An idea flashed in Jiang Chen's mind, and he recorded this moment by mistake. The girl smiled like a flower, knocked down her notebook, the fragrance smelled in her nostrils, and she was alone in the bustle of the campus. In an instant, inspiration erupted like a volcano. He saw the story: an introverted boy met a sunny girl, and during the collision, his exhausted soul was reborn. On the notebook, a fragment automatically appeared. Her smile lit up the desert oasis. Qin Feng came over, took a glance, and his eyes were as wide as copper bells. "Damn it, Brother Chen. When did you write this thing? This description is amazing. More poetic than Gu Sheng." Qin Feng's voice trembled, and he patted his back like a drum. Passers-by around him looked sideways, and someone whispered, "That's Jiang Chen. Didn't you say he was stuck? This writing style." Jiang Chen himself was stunned, and his blood surged. At the same time, at the door of the literary club, teacher Han Xiao pushed the door open and walked out. He has a tall figure, wearing thin-framed glasses, and is as serious as a textbook. She scanned the crowd, her eyes paused on Jiang Chen's notebook, and she raised her eyebrows slightly. "New face? Let's take a look." Jiang Chen handed it over hesitantly, while Han Xiao flipped through Desert Bells, and you could hear pin drops in the classroom. She tapped the edge of the page with her fingers, and her voice trembled slightly. "This, wonderful twist, deep imagery. Jiang Chen, where did you learn that?" The surrounding club members were furious, and some people rubbed their eyes. "No way. Gu Sheng's style is not so catchy." The girls whispered, "What a handsome writing style, who is he?" As soon as the pen tip left the paper, there was a sudden shock in my mind. Pictures came flooding in. He saw himself transformed into a lonely traveler, crossing a desolate desert, with wind and sand blowing on his face. His mouth was dry, but there was a faint phantom of an oasis in the distance. Fingers flew involuntarily, ink splashed out, and the first short story, Desert Bells, took shape within half an hour. At the end, he wrote, "The bells woke up the desert, and the oases bloomed in ridicule." He stopped writing while panting, sweat dripping from his forehead, and the air in the dormitory suddenly became fresh, like the smell of earth after rain. Is this true? In the distance, Gu Sheng's rumors shrouded like a shadow. Qin Feng whispered, "I heard that Gu Sheng has signed up. This year's theme is, Broken Shadows of Youth. He has been preparing for half a year. Brother Chen, do you dare to fight?" Jiang Chen clenched the notebook and felt the warm pulse of the leather. Inspiration is no longer drying up, it is boiling. The campus lights came on, and the recruitment banners were fluttering in the wind. He took a deep breath and pushed open the door of the literary club. Recruiting new members tomorrow, he will face everyone for the first time. Gu Sheng's challenge has been secretly ignited. As soon as the door was pushed open, the wooden door panel made a low creaking sound, as if to protest the intrusion of this uninvited guest. The lights in the literary club activity room were dim, and the air was filled with the musty smell of old book pages and the bitterness of coffee grounds. The walls were covered with yellowed posters, with previous champion works enlarged and printed in the center. Gu Sheng's name was as dazzling as black ink, repeatedly occupying the top spot. More than a dozen club members raised their heads and stared at each other. Someone sneered, "Hey, new here. Isn't he the otaku who picked up the notebook yesterday?" A boy with dyed blue hair leaned against the table, crossed his legs and swayed, and his voice sounded like he was chewing gum. "I heard that your card is so bad that you vomit blood, so why are you here to join in the fun? Senior Gu Sheng doesn't like this." A flood of snickers surged around. The girls covered their mouths with contempt in their eyes. Qin Feng whispered in Jiang Chen's ear, "Brother Chen, leave them alone, Teacher Han is here." Teacher Han Xiao came from behind the podium, her high heels tapping the floor as fast as her heartbeat. Her sharp eyes behind her thin-rimmed glasses glanced at the notebook in Jiang Chen's hand, and her eyebrows raised slightly. "Jiang Chen, right? Yesterday's article, Desert Bells, the image changes like a knife edge, I couldn't sleep all night after reading it." Her voice was steady but trembling, her fingers caressed the cover of the notebook, the gold letters flashed in the light, "Record life, inspiration comes from you." "Where did you hear this? Join, but remember, writing is not a game, you have to capturing true emotions is the broken shadow of youth." The faces of the club members changed. The blue-haired boy opened his mouth wide and almost dropped the coffee cup. "Teacher, are you serious? That article. I threw it away after just one glance." Another girl rubbed her eyes and murmured, "It's impossible. Senior Gu Sheng's talent is innate. This kid, is he lucky?" Jiang Chen lowered his head, his heart pounding like a drum, and sweat dripping from his palms. He nodded, his voice as thin as a mosquito fly, "Thank you, teacher." Qin Feng was so excited that he punched his shoulder. The thud made Jiang Chen stagger, "Brother Chen is awesome. Please kiss me, teacher, there is a genius in our class." Han Xiao waved, "Recruitment is over, let's warm up first." Small competition in the club, theme, Shattered Youth, limited to 1 hour, record a moment on campus and write it into a short story. Start. The tip of the pen rustled, and the smell of nervous ink filled the room. Someone cursed, "As soon as Senior Gu Sheng takes action, we will be completely destroyed." Jiang Chen sat down, his mind went blank, he bit his lip, and his fists turned white. Where is the inspiration? Was yesterday a coincidence? Outside the window, the afterglow of the setting sun shone in, and Qiao Zhixia's figure on the playground jumped into view like an elf. She had just finished volleyball training, her white skirt was blown up by the wind, and beads of sweat splashed as she swung her ponytail, reflecting the golden light. Her laughter pierced the dusk. Her friends gathered around her and cheered, "Zhixia, the magic ball. One more." She bent down to pick up the ball, her skirt lifted slightly, revealing the arc of her calf. The greenness of the newly cut lawn and the faint citrus fragrance of her body floated in the air. Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat, and by some strange coincidence he pulled out his notebook and quickly wrote down, "The girl ran on the playground, beads of sweat falling like stars, her white skirt flying, her laughter shattered the silence of the dusk, and her heart beat like a wave." As soon as the pen tip stopped, his mind exploded. Pictures poured out like a flood, an introverted boy, staring at the sunny girl on the playground. Every run of hers was a fragment of youth, sparking heartbreak. With trembling fingers and splashes of ink, Shadow Run took shape within 20 minutes. Ending, her smile is not an oasis, but a phantom that never fades in the desert. He stopped writing while panting, and beads of sweat dripped from his forehead onto the paper, blurring a corner. Qin Feng came over, his eyes as wide as bells. Fuck. Brother Chen, this romance makes my skin crawl. The image of the girl running is amazing, more grounded than Gu Sheng's galaxy. His voice trembled like a drum, and he clapped the table too loudly, attracting the attention of the whole room. The blue-haired boy took a look and turned pale. Is it fake? This description. I wrote it for half an hour and I'm still stuck at the beginning. The girls murmured, it's so delicate. After reading it, I feel itchy, like I'm in love. Qiao Zhixia slipped into the club door at some point and leaned against the door frame to catch her breath. Her ponytail was still wet and her nostrils were filled with the scent of citrus. She blinked curiously. Jiang Chen. Are you coming to the literary club too? I just heard that you wrote about girls running, about me. Her voice was as soft as cotton candy, her cheeks were slightly red, and her eyes were shining with ambiguity. Jiang Chen's mind was buzzing, his face turned red to the base of his ears, and he hurriedly closed the notebook. No. Just a moment on campus. But his heart was in a state of confusion, and the fragrance wrapped around the tip of his nose, making him breathe quickly. Qiao Zhixia came closer, her ponytail swept across his arm, tickling. Let me take a look, I'm curious. Qin Feng laughed and pushed him. Brother Chen, what a chance. Zhixia school beauty asked in person, let's make a quick decision. Jiang Chen lowered his head shyly, clenched his fists, his self-esteem was as fragile as glass. Will she laugh at me? But she chuckled. Wow, this broken shadow, the writing makes me want to run around again. You have changed a lot, and you were still depressed yesterday. Her fingers touched the back of his hand lightly, and it was as warm as electricity. Jiang Chen's heart beat so fast that he could hardly stand still. The eyes of the boys around him turned red with envy. Someone murmured, Jiang Chen, this kid, got some shitty luck. Just when the ambiguous air filled the air, the door was pushed open with a bang, and cold wind poured in, mixed with the fishy smell of the playground soil. Gu Sheng appeared, tall as a cypress, his stern face cast a shadow under the light, and the corners of his lips curled up in a mocking arc. He threw off his backpack, and a stack of manuscript paper fell out, dripping with ink. Small competition. Boring. He handed over his copy of Star's Broken Dreams, with a voice as cold as ice. Read it, don't waste time. Han Xiao took it, frowned slightly as he read it, but nodded. Gorgeous, profound artistic conception, falling stars symbolize the disillusionment of youth, championship level. The club exploded, and the blue-haired boy screamed, Master's masterpiece. I can't copy this golden sentence for a year. The girls looked at each other. She was confused. Senior Gu Sheng, this is so heartbreaking, my heart will be broken into pieces after reading it. Qin Feng's face turned livid, and he whispered to Jiang Chen, Brother Chen, you are under a lot of pressure, he is not serious at all. Gu Sheng glanced at Jiang Chen and sneered, newcomer. You are lucky with desert bells, but shattered shadows. Don't be embarrassed. Ridiculed like a knife, Jiang Chen squeezed blood with his fists, and his inferiority was drowned like the tide. So what about his genius? Am I worthy? When the time came, Han Xiao received the manuscript, and you could hear the needle drop in the room. Jiang Chen lowered his head and listened to everyone talking about Gu Sheng's magnificence. Someone whispered, Jiang Chen's romantic thing is a little too young, Gu Sheng is the king. Qin Feng held his fist and roared with passion, Brother Chen, please write in the notebook. Jiang Chen took a deep breath, opened the notebook again, and wrote down recording this moment. The genius of Leng Ao comes to the stage, everyone worships him, the newcomer has low self-esteem, but the girl's fragrance remains, and the fire in his heart is smoldering. Inspiration surged again, and he added interesting campus stories, the club's ridicule, Qiao Zhixia's running, Gu Sheng's cold eyes, all integrated into the dust of youth. Turning point, the broken shadows are not the splendor of stars, but the tenacious sparkle in the dust. When Han Xiao read out the results, his voice trembled slightly, Gu Sheng is first, no doubt. But second, Jiang Chen, Dust of Youth. This captures the reality of campus, peeling off emotions layer by layer, like a knife carving the heart. There was dead silence in the room, and the blue-haired boy rubbed his eyes and screamed, "What?" Jiang Chen overtook. "This writing style is a twist." I cried. The girls looked at her with admiration. Jiang Chen is so talented, reading him is like falling in love on campus. Gu Sheng is too cold. Qiao Zhixia clapped her hands, her eyes sparkling. "I just said you have changed. This piece of dust is about today, right?" Her smile was like sunshine. Jiang Chen's heart beat faster, but he raised the corners of his mouth shyly. Qin Feng jumped up and hugged him, shouting, "Brother Chen. Counterattack. Defeat Gu Sheng in the next round." Gu Sheng's face changed slightly, the corners of his lips twitched, and his eyes shot like arrows. "Interesting. Newcomer, can you do it? In the next round of the Intersocial League, I will challenge you by name. Don't let me down." His voice was cold, as if there was frost in the air, and the club members gasped, "Senior, fight in person. Jiang Chen is finished." Jiang Chen held the notebook tightly, the leather felt as hot as his heartbeat. Night fell outside the window, the playground lights came on, and Qiao Zhixia's scent still lingered on the tip of her nose. Gu Sheng turned around and left, his back like a mountain, but in Jiang Chen's eyes, there was a blazing fire. Qin Feng whispered, "Brother Chen, the theme of the league is still, Shadow of Youth. Gu Sheng is preparing for half a year. What about you?" Han Xiao came over and pressed on his shoulder. "Record more true emotions, Jiang Chen. You have potential, transform." Qiao Zhixia blinked, "Come on, I will be your muse." In the ambiguous air, Jiang Chen nodded, his fists unclenched, and the traces of his nails were still there. Challenges have filled the campus like smoke. Notebook whispers, record, emerge, counterattack. But the moment the door closed, a cold gaze shot from the depths of the club. Gu Sheng stood against the wall, with a mocking arc on his lips. "New here? Interesting." Jiang Chen's heart tightened, and the air seemed to be filled with the smell of gunpowder smoke. Tomorrow, he will face the leader of the rankings and the eyes of the whole school. Can you counterattack? The notebook is slightly hot, as if whispering, "Give it a try." The morning breeze howled in the playground, mixing with the smell of wet earth from the lawn and the burnt aroma of fried dough sticks from the canteen in the distance. Qiao Zhixia's ponytail fluttered in a golden arc in the sun. She had just finished her morning run, her chest heaved, her white t-shirt clung to her skin, and sweat beads slid down her neckline, shining like broken diamonds. Jiang Chen hid behind the shadow of the tree, holding the notebook tightly in his palms. The gold letters on the leather cover record life, inspiration comes from you, were hot. He quickly scribbled, the girl ran in the morning, sweating like a river, laughing through the mist, her heart beating in sync with the wind. His mind trembled slightly, but it was not enough. The lingering power of yesterday's small victory over Gu Sheng was still there, and the club's whispers were like a haze. He gritted his teeth, the league is about to come, are you lucky enough? Qin Feng rushed from behind, his tall figure blocked half of the sunlight, and the smell of sweat hit his nostrils. He slapped Jiang Chen on the back, and the thumping sound made the leaves shake off. "Brother Chen. The community exploded last night, and the whole school said that you counterattacked Gu Sheng for second place. That blue-haired boy posted a post to hurt your luck, the sisters all forwarded it to mock him." His laughter was as rough as thunder, and his eyes were as bright as a wolf. Qiao Zhixia turned her head when she heard the sound, flicked her ponytail, and the scent of citrus came to her. She trotted over, her skirt flying. "Jiang Chen, good morning. I read The Broken Dust of Youth 3 times last night, and my heart was so itchy. Why do you always catch me?" She came closer, her breath was hot in his ear, her eyes were as ambiguous as honey. Qin Feng interjected with a bad smile, "Zhixia, Brother Chen's inspiration depends entirely on you as a muse. Last night, we were talking about your volleyball skills, and Brother Chen's eyes went straight." Qiao Zhixia blushed and pushed him. Qin Feng, you are talking nonsense. But, Jiang Chen, you record our interaction. Try it. She blinked and touched Qin Feng's arm. The three of them laughed, the sun was shining, and their friendship was like a heat wave. Early the next morning, the campus bell rang again. Jiang Chen ran towards the playground, and Qiao Zhixia's running figure came into view again. He opened his notebook and a new round of recording began. Gu Sheng's challenge is like a shadow, but his inspiration has become a torrent. At the door of the literary club, passers-by started talking. I heard that Jiang Chen Shaoxing defeated Gu Sheng. It's impossible. Amid the ridicule, he smiled and opened the door. The broken shadow of youth will soon be repainted by him. The entrance to the literary club was already crowded, and the blue-haired boy was smoking near the door. The smoke was lingering and bitter and pungent. He saw Jiang Chen spit. Hey, the lucky boy is here. What does second place mean yesterday? Senior Gu Sheng abused you casually. The theme of today's final is still, Shattered Shadows of Youth, and the time limit is 40 minutes to incorporate real emotions. Senior, you have been preparing for half a year, what about you? The passers-by snickered, and the girl covered her mouth. Jiang Chen is a sultry type, who is more talented than Gu Sheng. Jiang Chen lowered his head, fists clenched, and his self-esteem was like ice water. They were right, yesterday was a coincidence. Qiao Zhixia held his sleeve, and the warmth came. Don't listen, come on. Qin Feng growled, Brother Chen, kill them. The door opened, creaking in protest. The indoor lights were dazzling, the smell of ink and coffee was strong. Gu Sheng was already sitting in the middle, his stern profile was like a knife, and the pile of manuscript papers was like a mountain. Teacher Han Xiao knocked on her shoes and stepped forward, her eyes twinkling behind her glasses. The finals have begun. Capture the real broken shadows of the campus and write about the emotional collision. Gu Sheng, you go first. Gu Sheng did not look up, the tip of the pen rustled like a storm, and drafted, The stars are forever broken, in 20 hours. When he handed it over, his lips curled up in mockery. Perfect narrative, the disillusionment of youth is like falling stars silently. Han Xiao flipped through the pages, her hands trembling slightly. Incomparable gorgeousness, layer upon layer of twists and turns, reading with heart. Like a knife twisting. Senior level. The whole room exploded, and Lan Mao rushed towards him screaming, Senior's golden words. Stars shatter in the cage of self-esteem, I copied it. The girl's eyes were intoxicated. Gu Sheng is heart-wrenching, it's so perfect, newcomers, get out. Qin Feng's face was livid, and he held Jiang Chen's shoulders. Brother Chen, the pressure is off the charts, he's not using any strength. Jiang Chen sat down, his mind was blank, the paper was wet with sweat, and the pen was trembling in the air. Where is the inspiration? Gu Sheng's gaze shot towards him, like an arrow piercing his heart. Boy, don't embarrass yourself. There was a wave of ridicule. Jiang Chen bit his lip and it bled, his self-esteem shattered. Am I worthy of challenging a genius? The playground was noisy outside the window, and Qiao Zhixia's figure flashed up. She waved to Qin Feng, and Qin Feng shouted back, Zhixia, Brother Chen, come on. She smiled brightly, her ponytail flying. Jiang Chen took a deep breath, flipped through his notebook, and recorded this moment. My friends roared in support. The girl smiled from afar. Friendship was like an anchor under the pressure of the finals, and the ambiguous inner fire was simmering. Inspiration poured in. With his fingers flying, Shattered Shadows play took shape. An introverted boy witnessed the interaction between his friend and the girl Qin Guang. His self-esteem collided with misunderstandings, and he was transformed in his heart. The beginning is as plain as dust, but the twists and turns merge into reality. Yesterday's club ridicule, Qiao Zhixia's electric shock, Qin Feng's embrace, all the layers of delicate emotions are peeled off. The ending exploded. The broken shadows of youth are not the gorgeous stars, but the tenacious heartbeat in the sweat of play. Misunderstandings dispersed, and self-esteem burned. He gasped and revised the last paragraph on the spot, and the ink splashed on the paper. blurry like tear stains. When the time came, Han Xiao collected the manuscript, and the room was dead silent. Lan Mao whispered, "Is Jiang Chen stuck again? Gu Sheng is invincible." She turned over Jiang Chen's manuscript, her eyes suddenly brightened, and her hands shook like leaves. "This." The whole room held their breath, and her voice burst out with a trembling voice, "Jiang Chen, Shattered Shadows. Delicately captures the ambiguity of friendship, peeling off self-esteem and misunderstandings like a real campus, with shocking twists and turns, as if the heart was broken and reassembled." The manuscript fell to the ground, the table shook with a thud, and the ink spattered like blood. The whole society was petrified. Lan Mao's mouth was opened into an O, the coffee cup smashed to the ground, and the fragments flew. Impossible. This emotion. I got goosebumps after reading, Gu Sheng is perfect. This is true youth. The girls screamed, their eyes were full of admiration. Jiang Chen is so excited. Reading his words is like experiencing it in person. Gu Sheng is too unreal. Qin Feng jumped up and hugged Jiang Chen, his roar shook the window glass. "Brother Chen won the first prize. Unbelievable, ha ha ha." His tears and snot rubbed against Jiang Chen's shoulders, and the smell of blood hit his nostrils. Qiao Zhixia rushed in, her skirt billowing, she clapped her hands and smiled like a flower. "Jiang Chen. What you wrote is about our morning fun, right? So sweet, so true. The muse mission is accomplished." She ran her fingers across the back of his hand, and electricity rushed through her body. Jiang Chen blushed and his heart beat. He was shy but held his chest out, and his confidence was like a prairie fire. Han Xiao pressed Jiang Chen's shoulder, his voice choked with sobs. "Your talent explodes, Jiang Chen. You record life, and your inspiration comes from reality. This is transformation. In the league, you are the ace." The whole society was hotly debated. Lan Mao rubbed his eyes and murmured, "How did he write it? Copied it? Impossible, this is so delicate. I feel ashamed of myself." Gu Sheng's face turned pale, and his lips were twitching like candles in the wind. He stood up suddenly and swept the manuscript papers off the table with a harsh sound. "Plagiarism. This image is all pieced together from yesterday's club gossip. It's in the notebook. Hiding the template, right? Teacher Han, check him out." The question was like thunder, and the air in the room was freezing. Lan Mao agreed, "Yes. Where does the newcomer come from? He must copy it." The girl hesitated, "But, it reads so true." Qin Feng yelled at Hu Qian, "Let it go." "Shit. Brother Chen is a genius, are you blind?" Qiao Zhixia held Jiang Chen's arm and glared at Gu Sheng, "Slander. His emotions capture our heartbeats." Misunderstanding spread, Jiang Chen's fists were crushed, and his self-esteem was shattered, the label of genius, in exchange for doubts. Jiang Chen's heart beat like a drum, and he opened the notebook by accident and recorded this moment. The hot-blooded friend smiled evilly and pushed the school beauty, the girl blushed and nudged, the friendship was ambiguous in the morning light, and youth transpired like sweat. The tip of the pen stopped, and inspiration burst out. A picture emerges, a boy takes notes about the playfulness of his friend and a girl, capturing the delicate heartbeat and collision of self-esteem. He unclenched his fist and murmured, "It's done." Qin Feng glared, "Brother Chen, are you here again? We are walking in front of the club. Today, Teacher Han said that there will be intra-club finals, a climax warm-up league. That guy Gu Sheng will definitely dominate." During the heated discussion, Gu Sheng approached, his voice as low as a poisonous snake, "Boy, it's just for fun in the club. In the inter-school competition, I will let you show your true colors. Plagiarize the genius and get out of the literary circle." He turned around, his back was cold, and the door slammed against the wall, shaking off the poster dust. Jiang Chen's heart was in a state of confusion, but he held the notebook tightly, and heat surged into his palms. Qin Feng patted him, "Brother Chen, leave it alone, let's prove it to them." Qiao Zhixia blinked, I believe you, keep recording me. The ambiguous fragrance lingered, Han Xiao waved, the meeting is dismissed, prepare for the league. Jiang Chen, the transformation continues. The afternoon sun was shining slantingly, Jiang Chen was sitting alone on the playground bench, the wind blew the pages of his notebook flying, recording this wave, doubts are like knives, friendship is burning, girls trust in their eyes, and their hearts are even more intense. Inspiration whispers, the inter-school competition is about to start. In the distance, Gu Sheng's figure flashed through the shadow of the trees, and his sneer echoed around the campus. The counterattack is not over yet. The phone buzzed and vibrated, and social notifications exploded like a flood. The first post, Lan Mao's avatar, with a blurry side shot of Jiang Chen's notebook, the leader of the club finals. Senior Gu Sheng said that this kid cheated by using the magic notebook. It's full of templates and gossip, copied from the broken shadows of youth. Who believes in talent? Laugh to death, newcomers get out. The comment area was instantly boiling, and a passerby said, I read The Broken Shadows Frolic last night, and thought it was true. Sorry, it's so shameful to copy notes. Girl B said bitterly, Gu Sheng's Stars Are Forever Broken is called genius, and Jiang Chen's sweetness and ambiguity are just a bloody template. Lan Mao responded, the senior said personally that Jiang Chen's club is trying his luck, and the league has emerged. The literary club only accepts fake geniuses. The retweets exceeded 100, and the snickers seemed to come from the phone, making Jiang Chen's chest hurt. His fingers trembled and slid. Gu Sheng's anonymous account liked the post, and his stern avatar looked like a ghost. The crowd in the club was furious, but teacher Han Xiao didn't reply. Qin Feng's voice blasted, fuck you. Brother Chen is a genius, you are blind. However, he was drowned out by the blue-haired group of ridicules, a hot-blooded bitch, senior Gu Sheng has spent half a year to earn a penny, and your brother Chen has a time limit of 40 minutes to explode. Please turn on the plug-in on the laptop. Jiang Chen hit the chair with his fist, sawdust flew, sweat dripped down the page and blurred the ink. Self-esteem is like shattered glass, they are right, where do I get my talent? Birthday candles make wishes, magical. Just a fluke. When the heat of the notebook faded, he tried to open it, but his mind was as blank as a fog, his inspiration was exhausted, and he couldn't squeeze out even a single line. The wind in the playground rustled the fallen leaves, mixed with the muffled sound of basketballs hitting the ground in the distance and the rough roars of the boys. The afternoon sun was as dazzling as needles, shining on Jiang Chen's notebook. The golden words, record life, inspiration comes from you, were so hot that the palms of his hands ached. He closed the notebook, but his mind felt like dead water. After writing the sentence, doubts are like knives, friendship is hot, the tip of the pen became dry and stuck, and no more words came out. In the shadow of the trees in the distance, Gu Sheng's sneer seemed to still be echoing, bone-chillingly cold. Jiang Chen lowered his head to avoid it, his voice as dull as a defeated dog, Zhixia, they are right. My notebook, maybe really contains a template. The final article, pieced together for your morning fun, what kind of originality is it? Genius? A joke. Inferiority flooded him like a tide, he clenched the notebook tightly, his knuckles turned white. Qiao Zhixia pouted, her ponytail flicked out in an arc, and the citrus fragrance became stronger. She leaned closer and breathed hot breath into her ears, idiot. What do those scoffers know? I read your Shadow Frolic and my heart was itchy for 3 nights. That misunderstanding and self-esteem hit me. It's like my self-isolation after losing in volleyball. What you capture is the real heartbeat, not a template. She paused, her eyes lowered, and her voice was as light as a whisper. I also had the despair when I was chasing my volleyball dream. The coach said that girls are naturally weak, and the whole team laughed at me. My parents forced me to study, and I hid in the toilet and blew out the wishing candle. Give me a victory to prove that I can do it. The next morning, I stumbled on the ground and continued with a smile. Now, I am the ace of the school team. After making a birthday wish, Gu Sheng is more than lucky. Her smile was as warm as the sun, and the sun set on her face. Jiang Chen's heart trembled. Somehow, he pulled out his notebook and jotted down. Girls squatted on their knees to share dreams and tears, pear-shaped smiles warmed the twilight, the scent of citrus sweat lingered in their noses, mutual promises in self-esteem and despair, ambiguity like flames. The tip of the pen rustled, a slight surge of inspiration, but it got stuck. He bit his lip. Zhixia, thank you. But rumors are flying all over the sky, what about the League? She blinked, stood up, and pulled out the notebook. The fabric of his sleeves rubbed with heat. Believe me, you are a true genius. Tomorrow at the campus charity sale, I will sign up for a literary stall to sell manuscripts, and I invite you to come with me. Revisiting the campus will bring you inspiration. Ignore Gu Sheng's shadow. Her palms were soft and clenched tightly, and her eyes were as ambiguous as honey. Jiang Chen's face was hot, his heartbeat was missing, and his throat was dry when he nodded. The setting sun stretched its shadow, the playground was sparsely crowded, and from the volleyball court in the distance came the sharp laughter of girls and the crisp sound of the ball hitting the net. Qiao Zhixia's ponytail shone gold in the twilight. She had just finished training. Her white t-shirt was soaked and clinging to her body. The smell of sweat mixed with citrus shower gel hit her nostrils. As she trotted closer, she panted and squatted down. The sweat from her forehead rolled down her neck, glistening like dew. Jiang Chen, are you still here? I saw all the nonsense in the community. It's all Gu Sheng's lingering sour grapes. Her voice was soft and angry, her eyes were like spring water, and she lightly touched his knee, and warm electricity ran up her spine. Heading to the back door of the library first, Qin Feng roared, remember in the first year of high school, we were hiding from copying homework. You said you wanted to be a writer, and I laughed at your dreams. The dust on the bookshelf stung his nose, and the yellowing smell of old newspapers was pungent. Jiang Chen flashed back in his mind and wrote in his notebook, gray shadow in the library at night, friends yelling at each other, recalling the dream of high school, friendship is like a hammer hitting self-esteem. The inspiration trembled slightly, but was interrupted by a new post on the phone, Lan Mao video. Gu Sheng sneered at the camera, I will expose the cheating in the notebook. The inter-school circle will wait and see. Qin Feng angrily smashed the wall, his fist mark was dented, you bitch. Keep going. They rushed to the canteen, the neon lights were flashing, the fried dough sticks were fragrant and mixed with soda, and the boss smiled, boys, are you here for another midnight snack? Qin Feng patted Jiang Chen on the back, bang. The sound shook the table, brother Chen, remember this taste. We had noodles last night to celebrate, and your inspiration exploded. Jiang Chen recorded, under the neon lights of the stalls, friends patted their backs to remember the celebration, and the fragrance of fried dough sticks melted into the blood of the night. The fire in his heart was slightly burning, but his self-doubt was like a shackle. As night falls, the lights in the dormitory are dim, and the smell of ink and spicy aroma of instant noodles fills the air. Qin Feng burst into the door, his tall figure blocked the door frame, and his face was full of sweat. He threw his cell phone and hit the bed, brother Chen. The community is even more explosive. Blue-haired, close-up of your notebook, talking about cheating. I'm scolding you, but I'm still suspicious. He breathed heavily, his eyes were as red as wolves, let's go. Review every bit of campus and find inspiration. We can't let Gu Sheng succeed. Jiang Chen stood up hesitantly, and the two of them sneaked out of the dormitory. The night wind was as cold as a knife, and the campus streetlights stretched ghost shadows. The next morning, in Han Xiao's office, the coffee was filled with bitterness, and his eyes were shining brightly behind his glasses. She locked the door and pulled Jiang Chen to sit on the sofa. The leather squeaked in protest, Jiang Chen, I heard rumors. Gu Sheng went too far, but pressure is the fuel for creation. She handed hot coffee, steam filling her face, transform it. Remember when I was young, my submissions were rejected 100 times, and I self-destructed myself with suspicion. Later, I recorded every cut and turned it into the hit, Heartbroken Mirror. Your notebook is not cheating, it is a weapon. Pressure is like fire, burn it. Impurities make true gold. Her voice was deep and strong, and she pressed her hand on his shoulder, conveying her warmth. The League theme, Shattered Shadows of Youth, has been upgraded to inter-school. Gu Sheng invites geniuses from other schools to help. You, the ace of transformation. Write about the heartbreak under doubt, and the readers burst into tears. Jiang Chen fisted, with a roar in his mind, and turned over the notebook. The teacher persuades with coffee, the fire of pressure refines true gold, and the fire of glasses shines on self-esteem. Inspiration is flowing. He rushed out of the door, his pen flying like the wind, and the draft took shape. Doubt in the shadow, the beginning is like an abyss of self-esteem, the middle part is about the burning muse of friendship, and the ending is a turning point. Rumors shatter shadows, not to destroy talent, but to temper the heart. Youth is as tenacious as night fire. After writing, he took a breath and regained his confidence slightly. On the basketball stand next to the playground, Qin Feng dribbled the ball like thunder, and the bang echoed in the night sky. Shoot! Just like your comeback in the finals. The ball hit the basket and jingled. Jiang Chen caught it. Campus moments came to his mind, and his notes were scrawled. The sound of the basket rings at night. Friends are passionate about their dreams, and friendship is burning amid misunderstandings of self-esteem. Inspired, he murmured, Qin Feng, thank you. His friend hugged him, his breath was hot with sweat. Brother. Gu Sheng's rumor, the League is smashed. At Noon Square, the charity stalls were filled with colorful flags. The sweet smell of popcorn and the smoke of grilled sausages filled the nostrils, and the crowds were like waves. Qiao Zhixia was busy in front of the stall, with her ponytail flying and her skirt billowing. She waved and shouted, Jiang Chen. Come and sell your handwritten copy of Shattered Shadows. The community is still angry, let's slap you in the face with sales. Jiang Chen opened the photocopy of his notebook. The passers-by around him whispered, that plagiarism boy. Buy it and see. The blue-haired people gathered around, the smell of smoke was pungent. Oh, selling fakes. Senior Gu Sheng said, you will be ruined by the League. There was a wave of ridicule, and the girls came closer hesitantly. In the midst of the excitement, Qiao Zhixia leaned into Jiang Chen's ears and said, look, pressure turns into applause. Her lips almost touched her ears, her breath was numb with heat, and electric currents rushed through her body. Jiang Chen recorded this moment. Under the charity auction, girls whispered warmly, sparks of ambiguity exploded, and the crowds of people worshipped. Inspired by the flood of inspiration, a new article took shape, Ying Carnival. But suddenly he sneered and turned his head. Gu Sheng stood in the shadow and whispered to a strange tall boy. The boy's eyes were like an eagle behind his sunglasses, and he was holding a thick stack of manuscripts. In the Inter-School League, my foreign aide, Phantom Prison, is beating the newcomers. Gu Sheng, your information is accurate, I will find the weakness of the notebook. Gu Sheng curled his lips coldly, is he busy selling books? League, expose everything. The shadow flashed, the smell of smoke lingered in the wind. Jiang Chen's heart sank to the bottom of his heart. New challenge, a genius from another school. The shadow of rumors expanded, and the smoke between schools really broke out. Qiao Zhixia held his hand, Jiang Chen, don't be afraid. Let's record all this together. Her palms were moist and hot, and the ambiguity was like a vine wrapped around her heart. A counterattack, a storm was coming. The crowds of people in the square surged like ocean waves, the sweet smell of popcorn mixed with the smoke of sausages penetrated the nose, and amidst the sound of colorful flags and firecrackers, Qiao Zhixia's palms were moist and sticky, like melted honey, and she clenched Jiang Chen's fingers tightly and refused to let go. She leaned closer, her ponytail brushed against his cheek, bringing up a wisp of citrus sweat fragrance, and whispered hot breath, Jiang Chen, the boy from the foreign school had a sinister look in his eyes just now. Gu Sheng definitely has a dirty trick up his sleeve. But our booth has sold more than 30 copies. Your shadow frolic has made those the eyes of passers-by were wide-eyed, and the girls rushed to buy it, saying that they felt itching after reading it, and the misunderstanding of self-esteem was so true. Her smile was bright, her eyes were like ripples, and the ambiguous current ran up Jiang Chen's arms along the palms of her hands. His throat tightened and his face was as hot as coals. Passers-by gathered around, and a small group of girls squeezed forward. They opened the manuscript with pink nails, and their eyes suddenly widened. A girl with straight bangs had a trembling voice. "Oh my God, this scene of girls squatting on their knees to share the tears of chasing dreams, the pear vortex warms the twilight, the heartbeat skipped a beat. Jiang Chen, how can you write this feeling? Striking more than Gu Sheng's, the stars are forever broken, sweet knife." She screamed to pay, and the boys around her stole. Lan Mao's face was livid, and the smell of smoke came out from his fingers, and he whispered, "Impossible. Selling 40 copies? A plagiarism genius?" Qin Feng waved his arms and roared loudly, "Buy, buy, buy. Brother Chen's masterpiece, the broken shadows of youth hide the sincerity." The gold coins jingled into the box like rain, and the heat wave rolled in the stall. Jiang Chen felt a little warm in his heart, but he saw Qiao Zhixia bending down to pick up the fallen flyer, and the hem of her skirt was blowing, revealing a section of her fair calf. Qin Feng's eyes flashed, and he handed the water with a passionate smile. "Zhixia, take a drink, I'm so busy." She took it, her lips were wet against the mouth of the bottle, and her smile was like a flower. "Thank you, Qin Feng, you are the loudest." At that moment, Jiang Chen's chest felt like being stabbed by needles, and jealousy boiled like a sea of jealousy. Qin Feng was tall and hot-blooded, always clinging to her for laughter. Why was he so introverted as a rat? So he only dared to record. He accidentally pulled out a notebook, with the golden words, "Record life, inspiration comes from," on the cover, burning his eyes in the sun, and wrote, "In the waves of the charity sail." The girl held hands with honey, her ponytail brushed her cheeks with the scent of citrus, sparks of ambiguity ran through her heart, but she saw her friend handing over water to get intimate, and her pride burned with jealousy. The tip of the pen rustled, inspiration surged, and he continued to write the prototype of the love fragment in a low voice, lingering heart shadow, which begins with the girl whispering warmth, misunderstanding self-esteem collides, jealousy is like a knife in the middle, and the ending is ambiguous and transformed. The heat in the palm is not pity, but the fire in the heart, the love blooming in the broken shadow of youth. Qiao Zhixia came over to take a look, her cheeks turned red, and she lightly punched his arm. "Hey, this is written. Is it me? Bad guy, readers will scream after reading this." Her touch was soft, and the warmth melted the bones. Jiang Chen's heartbeat was like a drum, but suddenly he heard a cold laugh coming from the shadow behind the stall. Gu Sheng's tall and thin figure flashed up, with a stern face like a ghost. The boy in sunglasses had left. He put his hands in his pockets, smoke filled the tip of his nose, and his voice was as low as a poisonous snake. "Hey, Jiang Chen, are you busy selling books? Notes on, girls shaking hands with honey? Hee, Qiao Zhixia took pity on you, a plagiarizing loser, so she joined in the fun. The genius of the foreign school, phantom prison, has targeted your weakness, the inter-school league, shattered youth, you will be shattered into slag." The words were like piercing needles of ice. The blue-haired people gathered around after hearing the sound, bursting into snickers. "Senior is wise. Zhixia is the school belle, just pity the newcomers." Qiao Zhixia's face turned pale, and she threw out her ponytail stiffly, roaring, "Shut up and look around, Sheng. You are still haunting me. Jiang Chen's works really moved the whole school. You are the one who is sour." She squeezed Jiang Chen's hand tightly, her nails digging into her flesh. The pain mixed with her blood. Jiang Chen's self-esteem collapsed, and his mind roared, "Pity? She shared the tears of chasing dreams, just to pity me." The notebook was trembling and his inspiration was stuck. He growled, "Get away." But he saw Qin Feng rushing forward to block him. His tall body was like an iron tower, and his nose smelled of sweat. Gu Sheng, your mother has mercy. Brother Chen is a genius. I will crush your foreign aid in the league. They were pushed and pushed by the crowd. Stealing, a passerby girl stared wide-eyed, Gu Sheng is bullying people. Jiang Chen's works are so real, I just bought a copy and burst into tears. However, the sales stopped abruptly, Lan Mao sneered and posted on his mobile phone, and the community exploded. The charity sale is fake and lively, the school beauty shows mercy, Gu Sheng reveals the truth. Jiang Chen clenched the book in his fists, his knuckles turned white, jealousy and inferiority were like double-edged swords in his heart. He shook off Qiao Zhixia's hand, turned around and squeezed out of the stall. The noise in the square turned into tinnitus, and he staggered towards the shade of the trees. Sweat dripped down her cheeks, Gu Sheng's poisonous words echoed in her mind, and her heart felt like it was falling into an ice cave. The warmth of her handshake was hard to distinguish between true and false. Qin Feng caught up and slapped his shoulder with his bear's paw, Brother Chen. Don't believe that bitch, Zhixia's eyes are so hot when he looks at you. Jiang Chen gasped and pushed away, what do you know? When you handed the water, she smiled so sweetly. Brother Tai, you also have a crush on her, right? You roar to protect me with hot blood, or do you want to be the first? Qin Feng's figure froze, and his tall body was slightly trembling slightly, his eyes were as red as bloodshot, and his voice was as rough as gravel. Brother Chen, you are right. When I first saw Zhixia's volleyball flying in the first year of high school, I fell. The community protects you, I roared to the sky, and I wanted to get close to her. But... He grabbed Jiang Chen's shoulders, sweat soaked through his clothes, and his roar shook Yi Luo, I, Qin Feng, am a man. See you. Transformation. After making a birthday wish, from the loss of inspiration to the reversal in the finals, the notebook recorded the true picture of the campus, and the charity sale slapped everyone in the face, you are her muse. My brother is loyal, I encourage you to pursue your dreams. Winning the league, winning the beauty, I will be like a light bulb. His eyes burned, his Adam's apple rolled, and Jiang Chen's heart trembled. The jealousy vanished, and the hammer of friendship shattered his inferiority complex. He hugged back, his sweaty and smelly breath mingling, Qin Feng, thank you. Iron-blooded buddy. The boy passing by widened his eyes and murmured, Qin Feng, a hot-blooded man, confessed his secret love for Jiang Chen. How manly. The shadows of the trees danced, and the two gasped and laughed, and the bond was like steel. The bell rang muffled in the afternoon, the curtains of the literature club classrooms fluttered, and the bitter smell of coffee and old books filled the air. Han Xiao pushed the door open and walked in. Her tall figure cast a long shadow. Her eyes were like a fire behind her thin-framed glasses. She slapped the table glass loudly, quiet. I suppressed the rumors in the community. Lan Mao was banned for a week. The theme of the inter-school league was announced, youth transformation. No more broken shadows, but transformation. Gu Sheng invites foreign students to Phantom Prison, you all can show your talents. She locked eyes with Jiang Chen and said in a low and powerful voice, Jiang Chen, your doubt in the shadow has been circulated in the community, and passers-by commented that self-esteem turns into a fire blade, and transforms into real gold. Pressure is not an enemy, it is fuel. Record it and write about the reversal. Attack. The classroom exploded, and classmates whispered, Jiang Chen's new work. Read the chicken skin. The teacher named the trump card, who is a genius from another school. Gu Sheng sneered in a corner, his fists clenched slightly, Jiang Chen's heart was rekindled, and he turned over the notebook. In the musty smell of the classroom, the teacher's glasses and blazing eyes announced the transformation of the protagonist. The theme is, friends confess love and push dreams, friendship is ambiguous, and self-esteem is reborn. Inspired by it, he drafted Shadow's Heart Fire, which begins with pity and misunderstanding, and in the middle, friendship and love are tempered by fire, and ends with an explosion. Jealousy is not destroyed by fire, it is the flame of transformation, and youth is tenacious and burns the night. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the square, the charity sale ended, the colorful flags were as limp as a defeated dog, and the popcorn residue was sticky to the feet. Qiao Zhixia cleaned up the stall, her ponytail was messy and sweaty. When she saw Jiang Chen return, her eyes filled with tears, and she threw herself into a hug. "Idiot, why did you shake hands just now?" Gu Sheng said, "Nonsense, I hold your hand, it's heartfelt. Sharing the pursuit of dreams, I just want you to record our sparks and write them down forever." Her body temperature was soft and warm, the scent of citrus was tangy, and the corner of her lips touched his cheek, ambiguous like a vine growing wildly. Jiang Chen melted, hugged back and murmured, "Zhixia, I'm sorry. Qin Feng confessed his crush, and he pushed me to chase you." She was stunned, and Li Duo smiled slightly. "Fool, his hot-blooded best friend, you are the protagonist of the notebook, my muse." The girls nearby screamed, "Oh my God. Jiang Chen hugs the school beauty." The ambiguity is so ambiguous, the inspiration for the new work is here. Lan Mao's face twisted in the distance, and he murmured, "Impossible. They are bound by iron." The night wind was as cold as a knife. Jiang Chen returned to his dormitory alone, the street lamp stretched out his lonely shadow, and he stroked his notebook to soothe his inner fire. When the door was opened, the light was dim, and the spicy aroma of instant noodles hit his face. Qin Feng was already asleep, snoring like thunder. He stuffed the notebook under his pillow and replayed the day's transformation in his mind. Compassion and misunderstandings were shattered, friendship was confessed and refined, love was ambiguous, and confidence spread like a phoenix. But suddenly he heard rustling outside the window, and the wind rustled the fallen leaves. He rubbed his eyes and looked again, there was nothing under his pillow. The notebook disappeared, and the golden words, "Record life, inspiration comes from you," evaporated like a ghost. My heart felt like falling into an abyss, and I broke out in cold sweat. Who? Gu Sheng's trick? A genius from another school peeking at the weakness? The source of inspiration is at stake, and the league storm is really coming. The lights in the dormitory were as dim as a will-o'-the-wisp, the remaining bowl of instant noodles exuded greasy chili, Qin Feng's snoring sounded like thunder against the walls, Jiang Chen knelt on his knees, his hands scratching at the bottom of the bed under the pillow, his nails scratched the floor, and cold sweat flowed down his spine, soaking the cotton t-shirt and making it sticky against his skin. His mind roared, the notebook is missing. The gold-lettered cover, "Records life, inspiration comes from you," full of campus shadows, ambiguous love, jealous friendship, from the miracle of birthday candles to the reversal of charity sales, they are all sources of inspiration. Lost it, how to write, youth transformation, in the league. Gu Sheng's sinister smile appeared in his mind. The foreign school's phantom prison has locked its weak point. This is a fatal blow. He shook Qin Feng's shoulders fiercely, his bare body rolled over and woke up, his eyes were bloodshot. "Brother Chen. What are you doing in the middle of the night? Your face is as white as a ghost." Jiang Chen's voice trembled like a candle in the wind, the notebook, evaporated under the pillow. Gu Sheng stole it, absolutely. Him. Qin Feng bounced up, his tall body like a tank banging against the door frame, the smell of sweat mixed with the hot noodles, and the roar shook the window glass. "Fuck. I mobilized the club and searched the whole school. That skinny monkey can't hide." He grabbed his cell phone and poked at the club frantically. In the group, messages were bombarded like artillery fire, urgent. Jiang Chen's sacred copy has been lost, and the gold-lettered record of inspiration is suspected of Gu Sheng's dirty tricks. The entire literary club is dispatched to reward 10 signed handwritten copies of Shattered Frolic. The screen lights up and replies flood in. The classmates secretly exploded, impossible. The campus legend of Jiang Chen's notebook, the inspiration for selling 40 copies for charity. Gu Sheng, bastard. A passerby boy glared and muttered, "Brother Chen is in crisis, the iron army of the club is attacking, so hot-blooded." Thunder was rolling in the sky, black clouds were pouring like ink. Jiang Chen rushed out of the dormitory, the night wind cut his cheek with a knife, and the campus street light stretched out the lone shadow like a ghost. He went straight to the downstairs of the girls' dormitory, raindrops hitting his head. Qiao Zhixia's window light turned on. She put her head in a gauze nightgown, her ponytail was messy and wet with sweat, her eyes widened in panic. Jiang Chen. Standing there in the heavy rain. Your face is livid, what's wrong? He raised his head and shouted, the rain filled her mouth with salty taste. Zhixia, I lost my notebook. The warm handshakes and warm embraces we recorded are all fragments of you. Without it, my inspiration is exhausted. Her eyes were slightly red, but her eyes were red. The hem of her skirt was flying as she jumped down the stairs, and the rain whipped her white calves. Threw herself into his arms, wet and sticky, idiot. My heart is already hot, and records are just a guide. I will accompany you to find it, to the ends of the earth. The scent of citrus mixed with the rain hit her nostrils, and her palms clenched tightly with pain and heat. Jiang Chen's self-esteem was like an ebbing tide, and warmth surged in his chest. But I saw the girl downstairs looking out and screaming, the school beauty is hugging Jiang Chen in the middle of the night. Are you afraid of getting wet when you are ambiguous? She took action in person during the laptop crisis, so sweet. Passers-by stole the news, and a new post in the community exploded. Zhixia is accompanying me in the rain. Is Jiang Chen's muse true love? Gu Sheng loses miserably. The rain poured down like a waterfall, and the campus turned into a water town. The water accumulated around my ankles and was freezing cold. The three of them joined Qin Feng, a hot-blooded man who had gathered more than 10 club fans. The flashlight beam swept the playground lawn randomly, mud splashed on his shoes, and the musty smell of old books mixed with earth hit his face. Separately search. Dormitories, classrooms, squares, Gu Sheng's kennel. Qin Feng waved his arms and roared to add to the thunder. His classmates stared straight at Jiang Chen and murmured, Brother Chen is as calm as a mountain, and his eyes are blazing in crisis. Where can I see the introverted rats before? The king of transformation. They rummaged through the trash cans, and plucked the grass and sand. Qiao Zhixia's skirt was splashed with mud, and her ponytail stuck to her neck. She wiped the rain from Jiang Chen's forehead and whispered warmly into her cheeks, remember when you threw away your hands at the charity sale and felt inferior? What about now? The three of us are an iron triangle, and Gu Sheng is just a shadowy figure. Jiang Chen's heart trembled, the remnants of jealousy were extinguished, but he suddenly felt a prick of self-esteem. Without a notebook, am I really useless? When the fountain of inspiration dries up, how can the League counterattack? The search lasted for 2 hours, and the rain was as ruthless as an iron curtain. The whole school found no results. A die-hard fan of the club was panting, shivering in wet clothes, and a girl's voice trembled, Brother Chen, the book has really evaporated? Gu Sheng's blue hair is ghosting tonight, and he said in the club that weakness has been obtained. Jiang Chen clenched his knuckles with white fists, and his mind was devoured by despair like a black hole. The miracle of his birthday wish was ruined. Qiao Zhixia's eyes pity. Qin Feng pushed me to pursue my dream, what a joke. He staggered and squatted in the mud, the rain hitting his back like a hammer, and his throat choked with sobs. It's over. The draft of Shadow's Heart Fire is stuck, and the theme of Youth Transformation cannot be written. I plagiarized the genius, and the notebook plug-in was exposed. Qiao Zhixia knelt down and hugged each other, her body temperature melting into the rain. Cold, tears rolled down her cheeks, fool. Inspiration comes from the heart, not a dead thing. Remember the sunset hug, I said you are the protagonist, my muse. Close your eyes and want to shake hands, warm and sweaty, friendly bear hug, then the fire will burn. Her lips touched her earlobe, soft and warm, ambiguous electricity rushed through his heart. Qin Feng slapped his shoulder with a thud, and his eyes were red, Brother Chen. I have a crush on Zhixia, but I pushed you because you transformed into real gold. I lost my notebook, let's remember it again. I have a steely heart, and I stepped on Gu Sheng in the league. The fans around him widened their eyes, and their voices trembled, "Oh my God." The three of us encouraged each other in the rain, but Jiang Chen's low self-esteem turned into a sea of fire. The campus legend will never die. Jiang Chen's chest erupted like a volcano, his self-esteem was tempered, and he murmured, "Yes, rely on your heart to create." However, he heard the classroom lights flashing in the distance, and Han Xiao's tall figure descended like thunder. Water droplets floated on the door curtain of the literature club classroom, and the bitter smell of coffee and musty books filled the air more intensely. Han Xiao's eyes were like a torch behind his thin-framed glasses, and he grabbed Gu Sheng's thin arm and dragged him out of the shadows. The blue-haired follower's face turned pale and he shrank into the corner. Gu Sheng's sunglasses were tilted, and the gold-lettered notebook in his hand was burning and flashing. His stern face was twisted, and his voice was low but trembling, "Teacher. I just borrowed it to study the weaknesses. Jiang Chen's cheating cheat has been reported to the community for a long time." Han Xiao's glass on the table shattered, and his voice was cold. "Rudeo, borrowing? Sneaking around in the middle of the night, blue-haired Papu mocking the post. Gu Sheng, your genius and pride were destroyed by a dirty trick. Return the notebook to Jiang Chen, suspended for a week, reflect on it." Gu Sheng's fists were clenched tightly, his knuckles turning white, but he saw Qin rush into the blockade and shine a flashlight directly into his eyes. The theft exploded, Gu Sheng stole the book. The trump card turned into a villain. Jiang Chen's crisis was reversed, and the teacher was caught. Jiang Chen and 3 people broke in, and the rain became a river. He took the book back, the cover was moist and the gold letters were still shining, it felt like a new life, and the fire in his heart suddenly rekindled. Gu Sheng. Thanks for the borrowing, the inspiration is even stronger. Qiao Zhixia flicked her ponytail, and Li Wuxian smiled angrily, "Yin Hun. Zhixia's heart is moved by pity, you are the scumbag." Qin Feng roared and hugged Gu Sheng's shoulders, and his bones cracked, "Senior, you can't afford to lose. The league is stepping on you openly." The rain slowed down a bit, and the 3 of them rushed out of the classroom. The cool night breeze and the fresh soil hit their nostrils, and the water on the playground reflected the moonlight. Jiang Chen held the notebook high, the golden letters flashed with thunder, Qin Feng waved his arms and shouted to the sky, "Get it back. Brother Chen is lucky." Qiao Zhixia threw herself into a bear hug with 3 people, her laughter was as clear as a bell and thunderous, the wet clothes were touching each other and the warmth melted into the bones, the smell of citrus and the rain intertwined. "Idiots, the iron triangle will never be broken. Inspiration has come, let's break the league." The die-hard fans watched with eyes wide open, and the girls screamed, laughing and hugging in the rain. The bond between Jiang Chen and the 3 of them is a masterpiece, and Gu Sheng's face turned into a ghost. A passerby boy murmured, "The climax of the crisis has reversed, Jiang Chen's eyes are kingly and domineering, how can a previously introverted boy match the school beauty?" Emotions are like vines, Jiang Chen's heart is melting, and the confident phoenix spreads its wings, he opens the door on the wet page, the tip of the pen rustled and continued, "In the despair of the rain, the muse embraces the heat, the iron friend pushes the fire, the teacher thunders, and the 3 refinements are transformed. It is not the notes, but the heart." Inundated with inspiration, he drafted the first draft of the competition, heart transformed from the rain and fire, on the spot. The beginning is pity and misunderstanding as deep as the rain, the middle part is the friendship and love tempered by laughter in the rain, and the ending explodes. Crisis is not destruction, but a torrential rain of transformation. Youthful steel is reborn from the ashes, and tenacity pierces the dark clouds. Qiao Zhixia glanced at her, her face flushed and she lightly punched, "Bad guy, this is about the 3 of us." Readers are itching and screaming after reading this, and their misunderstandings of self-esteem turn to sweetness and cruelty. Qin Feng slapped his back with a thud, Brother Chen's first draft is a magic pen, and the league championship is scheduled. At dawn, the rain stopped and fog filled the campus. Jiang Chen returned to his dormitory alone to take stock of his harvest. Qin Feng opened the door and snored as before, and the spicy aroma of instant noodles faded away. He sat at the table with a warm yellow light, and the wet pages of his notebook were still fragrant. The origin of the miracle of birthday candles, the charity sale of 40 copies to dispel rumors, the reversal of Gu Sheng in the internal finals, inferiority turns to fire blade, was praised by the community of question in the film, friendship confessions are tempered, and ambiguous embraces are burning. Inspiration is not something external, but comes from the heart as it records life. He deeply absorbed the mold of old books and the new ones after rain, and continued to write the details of the first draft. The girl embraced by the rain, the soft and hot misunderstandings were broken, the friends roared and laughed, and the bare paw pushed the dream away, and self-esteem in crisis was like a sword unsheathed. Confidence is overwhelming, the league, youth transformation, has won the championship, the writer's dream is in his hands, and Qiao Zhixia will always be in his heart. After a short period of repair, it was like the calm in the eye of a storm. Jiang Chen smiled and rehearsed the inter-school stage in his mind, and Gu Sheng's foreign aid was broken. However, the phone buzzed and shook the table, and the social media post flashed red. Gu Sheng at the whole school, public apology. Yesterday I made a mistake in borrowing my notebook, and I will return it today. Jiang Chen's transformation is real gold, I admire it. But for the final showdown of the inter-school league, youth transformation, the Phantom Prison team from another school was invited, and I personally wrote, forever, broken steel heart, wins the battle. The loser quits the club, the showdown for the throne of youth. Comments exploded, Gu Sheng apologized and smiled sinisterly. In the end, Jiang Chen accepted the challenge. The crisis escalated again. Jiang Chen held the book in his fist, his knuckles were burning, but a chill ran down his back, the ultimate storm was really coming. The gray morning light leaked through the gaps in the dormitory curtains, and the fog wrapped around the campus like a ghost. Jiang Chen held the phone with stiff fingers, and the red light of the screen reflected the dazzling red light on his pale face. Gu Sheng's top post was like a poisonous arrow to the heart, public apology. Yesterday I made a mistake in borrowing my notebook, so I will return it now. I admire Jiang Chen's transformation. But for the final showdown of the inter-school league, youth transformation, the Phantom Prison team from another school was invited. I wrote, forever broken steel heart, to win the battle. Do you dare to fight? The loser quits the company, the battle for the throne of youth. Comments came in like a frenzy, and the harsh keyboard tapping echoed in my mind. Gu Sheng's apology is hypocritical, the foreign aid team crushes Jiang Chen. The last champion of Phantom Prison, Jiang Chen is dead. The Iron Triangle's passion on a rainy night. Social hype, the league is real, King Gu Sheng is back. Jiang Chen's throat is as dry as sandpaper, and the anger in his heart erupted last night. Frozen, he murmured, foreign aid. Tiantuan. How can my inner steel from heart sloughs rain and fire compete with the shattered dreams of a professional? Inferiority surged like black mist, the cover of the notebook with gold letters was wet and cold to the touch, and the fountain of inspiration seemed to be dry and cracked. The morning self-study bell sounded shrill like an alarm, the air in the classroom was hot and stuffy and smelled of chalk dust and sweat. Jiang Chen lowered his head and stared at the textbook, and the chalk on the blackboard scratched like nails scratching his heart. The boys in the back row were buzzing, their voices trembling and low. I heard that Gu Sheng's suspension has ended. After being caught in the classroom last night, he went into seclusion to write Heart of Steel. The three heroes of the Phantom Prison from the other school have joined forces to preheat the Pooh. Transformation of youth equals Heart of Steel is forever broken, Jiang Chen's rain and fire bubble. The girl turned her head and glared at Jiang Chen, her eyes filled with surprise and suspicion. Weaving, Brother Chen makes a handsome comeback on a rainy night, but Gu Sheng is a genius for revenge, and the community predicts that he will be crushed by the group. Why do you have dark eyes? They were like this when you were introverted before. Jiang Chen clenched the penholder with his fist, and the ink seeped through the paper. Gu Sheng's blue hair smiled sinisterly, Han Xiao slapped the broken glass on the table, and Qiao Zhixia was in tears in the rain. He gritted his teeth and continued to write in his notebook. The chalk in the classroom was dull, the pressure was like a net, inspiration. Only a black hole of self-doubt remains. Qin Feng, who was sitting next to him, touched his shoulder with his arm and roared hotly in his ears, "Brother Chen. Look at that skinny monkey's declaration of war. I'm so excited that I'm going to crush him during the after-school club training." But Qiao Zhixia looked back from the front row, her ponytail flicking and the scent of citrus wafting faintly. There were light dimples at the corners of her lips, but there was a worried look in her eyes. She bit her lip and said, "Don't be afraid, foreign aid can't compete with the inner fire of the Iron Triangle. See you on the playground at noon." Jiang Chen's face felt as hot, the note was crumpled and his heartbeat was beating wildly, but he couldn't suppress Gu Sheng's shadow hanging low like a dark cloud. The fog on the playground during the lunch break has not yet dissipated, the lawn is wet and the earth smells fishy. Jiang Chen sits alone on a bench with his notebook spread out on his knees to continue recording the prototype of the club rehearsal. The wind rustles the pages, and the handwriting is skewed and trembling. Qin Feng rushed in like a tank, his sweat mixed with the sweet energy drink. His tall figure blocked the sun and cast a shadow. "Brother Chen. The special training begins. Read Heart Slough's Rain Fire loudly, and practice your momentum to overwhelm Gu Sheng." He scratched Jiang Chen's shoulder bone with a painful sound, and his roar made pigeons fly around. A classmate stopped as he passed by, his eyes widened and murmured, "Qin Feng pushed Jiang Chen with all his blood." After the Iron Triangle on a rainy night, it was even more fierce, and Gu Sheng's foreign aid was also miserable. Jiang Chen stood up and cleared his throat, his voice was initially hoarse like a candle in the wind. "A crisis is not destruction, it is transformation." It turned into a heavy rain. Qin Feng frowned in dissatisfaction. "Weak. Imagine Gu Sheng's face is green, read it again." Jiang Chen closed his eyes and remembered the heat of the rain, whispering softly, his voice gradually burning with iron, "The steel of youth is reborn from the fire, tenaciously piercing the black clouds." Qin Feng's eyes were bloodshot and he slapped his back like a drum. "Yes. This aura is king." Passers-by were stunned. Indeed, the girls nearby screamed and whispered, "Jiang Chen's voice has changed from dark to explosive, is his transformation real?" Listen to Gu Sheng's forever broken steel heart. The protagonist's heart is broken at the very beginning. The abyss of self-doubt is as deep as Jiang Chen's last night. The pressure is huge. Jiang Chen's chest feels as tight as a stone, and the record speeds up. The wind in the playground is muddy. Qin Feng roars with momentum, but there is a stab in his heart. The foreign aid team, how to prepare. The literary club classroom was as hot as a steamer in the afternoon, with a strong musty smell of old books and the bitter taste of coffee. Han Xiao's tall figure opened the door, and his eyes behind his glasses scanned the entire room like a knife. Gu Sheng's blue-haired figure flashed through the door, with a slim face and pale sunglasses covering her eyes. She was rustling the manuscript paper in her hand, and her blue-haired follower whispered and trembled. The boss's forever broken steel heart stayed up all night, incorporating the weaknesses of the original, inferiority Yu Yuan's painting. The foreign aid, Phantom Prison, has been circulated. The preliminaries will torture Jiang Chen. Gu Sheng snorted coldly, his voice was as low as a ghost. Is he internalizing the rain and fire? The steel heart is forever broken, and I swear to quit the company. Jiang Chen's heart sank, and the knuckles of the pen turned white. Han Xiao slapped the table, and the coffee stain splashed on the paper. Gu Sheng, what about the ban for self-reflection? You can do it in isolation. If you commit any dirty tricks again, you will be permanently expelled. Jiang Chen, please submit the first draft, and I will guide the revision. Jiang Chen handed over, heart sloughing rain and fire, with wet marks still on the edges. Han Xiao read carefully, and his glasses slipped on the tip of his nose. Her brows gradually furrowed and then she suddenly realized, okay. On a rainy night, there is a crisis in the abyss of inferiority, the iron triangle forges steel with each other, and the theme of youth transformation hits the target. But weak, integrated into the real story, Qiao Zhixia's misunderstandings are broken and refined, and the sweaty smell of friendly bear hugs explodes the senses. She sketched the rustle with red pen, and the aroma of coffee mixed with astringent ink. Here, the girl's rain hug is not only hot, but also the self-esteem acupuncture. Sweet and sweet collision, friends roar and push, but secret love gives in and heartbreak turns to steel. Rewrite the ending, not destroyed by heavy rain, but quenched and reborn, the reader's heart is itching and screaming. The lightning flashed in Jiang Chen's mind, and the pen tip danced wildly to write, the teacher's red pen sharpener, the guidance is like thunder quenching, and the inspiration is resurrected but suppressed, Gu Sheng's steel heart. The members of the club stared wide-eyed and whispered, Teacher Han praised Jiang Chen with his fiery eyes, Gu Sheng's face was twisted and green veins popped out. Genius versus transformation, the preliminaries group battle. The dusk bells sounded long and low, the campus lampposts gradually brightened and lengthened the shadows, Qiao Zhixia's ponytail flew towards her, her skirt fluttered in the wind, revealing her fair calves, and the scent of citrus filled her nostrils with the warmth of the setting sun. She pulled Jiang Chen to the willow tree by the lake. The willow brushed his face and felt soft, and the two figures shivered in the sparkling water. Jiang Chen, Gu Sheng's war letter is scary. The foreign aid team, but I believe you. Her eyes were moist, and she smiled lightly, but the back of his hand was hot and the fingers were intertwined and sticky. On a rainy night, I said you are the protagonist, not polite. Remember when I shook hands at the charity sale, my heart was beating wildly. Now, it's even more chaotic. Jiang Chen's face was red as fire, his ears were filled with blood and his pulse was beating wildly. He stammered, Zhixia, I am an introvert, how can I be a good match? Gu Sheng is a genius, my first draft is still stuck, the hot breath on the cheeks was numb, the corner of the lips touched the earlobe, stupid. Good for nothing. Your eyes are king in the rain, and my heart melted when I fell into my arms. I like you, from the time when I was playing with broken shadows, when my self-esteem turned into anger, you are the brightest. The girls nearby put their heads in and screamed, the school beauty confessed to you by the lake. With your hands covered with heat, Jiang Chen blushing, ambiguous electric current. Gu Sheng sweet buff under pressure. Jiang Chen's self-esteem surged, and he bowed his head shyly but held her hand in pain. He continued to write down, Lu Fengshuiguing, Ji Xiami's words show affection, and the ambiguity in his heart is fierce. The pressure is as sweet as honey, but the dark clouds are pressing, and the league is close. As night falls in the dormitory, instant noodles are boiled again with greasy chili, and Qin Feng's snoring is temporarily replaced by a roar, Brother Chen. Read the revised manuscript and incorporate it into the true story of Zhixia. Jiang Chen's pen moves quickly and the page rustles, blending into the sweet words by the lake where self-esteem collides and rain embraces misunderstandings. After Qin Feng listened, his eyes were moist and trembling, fuck. A masterpiece. Readers' self-doubt turns to anger after reading it, and they scream and transform. Gu Shengdong's heart is broken at your feet. Jiang Chen's chest was as tight as lead, and the recording accelerated, the night was hot and greasy, the passionate training was full of momentum, the class was stolen, the red pen of the club rehearsal, the expression of Humi, all the inspiration, but there are rumors about Gu Sheng's retreat, the fragments of broken dreams for foreign aids preheating Po. The classmates predict that Jiang Chen's team will lose in the first round. The pressure is like a mountain avalanche, self-doubt is dragging its hands, and there are cracks in the steel of self-confidence. In the early morning, the mobile phone buzzed again, and the official website of the Inter-School League flashed a red message, the preliminary list has been announced. Group A's blockbusters, Gu Sheng's The Heart of Steel, collaboration with the Outer Schools, Phantom Prison, team, Jiang Chen's Heart Sloughs Off Rain and Fire, the literary club transforms into a new star. The same group competes, and the first battle of the Youth Throne group begins. Comments exploded, oh my god. Our old enemy is in the same group. Gu Sheng is in the battle and killing him, can Jiang Chen withstand the fire? Jiang Chen hit the table with his fist and saw sawdust flying, his knuckles were bloodshot, the black clouds were rolling in his mind, and his heart was as cold as an ice cave. The final battle was advanced, the same group was deadlocked, and it was over. The lights in the dormitory were as dim as a flickering candle, the spicy and greasy instant noodle residue stuck to Jiang Chen's fingertips, and the air was filled with the stench of overnight sweat and the burnt smell of electronic screens. The sawdust from his fist hitting the table is still floating in the air, bloodshot knuckles are oozing out and stinging like needles. In his mind, Gu Sheng's blue-haired sinister smile overlaps with the list of preliminaries and the red light flashes. The same group is in a dead end. The foreign aid team, the preheated broken dream clip of Forever Broken Steel Heart, has been released. My heart felt like falling into an ice cave, a black mist of inferiority surged, and the pages of the notebook were still wet. He mechanically continued writing, sawdust flew in the early morning, and the list of old enemies in the same group was thunderous. The cracks in the steel of self-confidence expanded, and the spring of inspiration was as dry as a desert. Qin Feng snoring on the bunk bed was like thunder, and he turned over and muttered hotly, "Brother Chen, step on Gu Ho." But it was like murmuring in a distant dream. Jiang Chen's throat was choked, tears dropped on the paper, and the ink stains were blurred. The sky is gray and blue, and the dawn is dawning. The campus radio announces with a piercing buzz, the preliminaries of the Inter-School League begin today in Group A, Literary Club's Iron Triangle Rising Stars vs Genius Ace Foreign Aid, a showdown on the theme of youthful transformation. Jiang Chen dragged himself to the classroom, the morning self-study bell sounded like shackles locking the heart, and the chalk-gray nose clips of classmates were buzzing like a swarm of bees surrounding them. The boys in the back row stared at the screen of their mobile phones with trembling fingers and poked comments, "Fuck." Gu Sheng's warm-up clip has been posted. Inferiority UUN swallows the heart of steel, borrowed dreams are shattered into dust, and the bubble of transformation bursts, pointing directly at Jiang Chen's notebook scandal. 3 outstanding actors from the Phantom Prison, from another school liked it, predicting Jiang Chen will quit the club in the first round of the group Human. The girl turned her head, eyes intertwined with fear, and whispered in a trembling voice, "Brother Chen was so sexy and handsome by the lake yesterday, but Gu Sheng's touch was gorgeous and poisonous, and after reading this, your face is as gray as a corpse." Jiang Chen's pen broke, ink splattered on the page like blood, and the psychological game was like a knife, withdrawing from the competition to save face. "No, the iron triangle of rain and fire is here, Zhixia's sweet words are hot in my ears, but I suspect that there is some evil behind it. The genius is gorgeous, but I am an introverted loser, how can I defeat him?" A temporary stage was set up at the venue for the midday preliminaries on the playground. The fog cleared and the sun glared onto the lawn. The mud was wet and fishy mixed with energy drinks, which were sweet and tangy. The auditorium was dark and crowded with people buzzing like a tide. Qin Feng's tank figure squeezed into the front row, waving his arms and roaring loudly, "Iron Triangle. Brother Chen, the rain is burning Gu Monkey." Qiao Zhixia's ponytail flew up and stood next to him, her skirt fluttered, revealing her fair legs, her eyes were moist and worried, with a pear-shaped smile, and her palm accidentally touched Jiang Chen's arm, which was as hot as electricity. "Jiang Chen, remember the lake. I believe in your steel heart." Jiang Chen's heart beat wildly and his face turned red, but he couldn't hold it down on the stage. Gu Sheng's blue-haired figure flashed up, with a thin face and pale sunglasses covering his eyes. The manuscript rustled like a ghost whispering, and the follower Lan Mao whispered tremblingly, "The boss's heart of forever broken steel opens with a feeling of inferiority." Gu Sheng's steps on the stage were as light as a shadow, the light stretched the shadow of blue hair, and his voice was as low and gorgeous as a poisonous needle wrapped in velvet. He began to read, torrential rain poured down, and the black abyss of inferiority swallowed up the notebook of the steel-hearted boy. The dream he borrowed was shattered into dust. Metamorphosis. Bubbles. It will be broken with one poke, and youth will be forever shattered by the hands of genius. The audience screamed, and the girl's eyes were wet and trembling. Gu Sheng's pen touches the gods. The depth of inferiority is as deep as my heart, the steel heart is broken and exploded, Jiang Chen is so cold. The boy punched his knee and shouted. Hua Li turned around, the scandal of stealing was turned into a sharp weapon, the foreign aid team nodded and confirmed, the king's revenge. Qin Feng's eyes were bloodshot, and his roar couldn't suppress his throat, poison. It hurts to stab Brother Chen, is the momentum of the special training in the playground in vain? Qiao Zhixia held Jiang Chen tightly in her palms. The seams between his fingers were sticky and hot, and he bit his lip and whispered, "Don't panic, you are serious." Jiang Chen's heart was like a knife, and the psychological game was furious. The gorgeous poisonous needle pierced the outer shell of the rain and fire, and the black mist of self-doubt burst out. I record trivial emotions, how can I compare to his cohesion? Resign. No, the sweet pride collides by the lake, and the iron triangle is not broken. Luan Jiangchen came on stage, his steps were as heavy as lead, beads of sweat rolled down his forehead as the spotlight was hot, and the gold-lettered cover of his notebook was cold to the touch. He took a deep breath and continued to write down in his mind. The venue was filled with people, Gu Sheng was so gorgeous, his heart was broken, and he was under pressure and a landslide, and inspiration surged. Record the recent twists and turns, and turn them into the ultimate version of Heart Slough's Rain and Fire. The voice is as hoarse as a candle at first, heavy rains are not destruction, but the forging of quenching. The abyss of low self-esteem is deep, and notebooks record every detail of life. Inspiration comes from dreams, but the steel in the heart is reborn from the fire. Incorporated into the lakeside Zhixia's sweet words of self-esteem acupuncture, Qin Feng, Xiong's roar, pushing sweat and hot friendship, shattering and turning to steel, Han Lao the teacher's red pen sharpener tempers the delicate senses. A girl's hug in the rain is not pity, but the heartbeat collides with sweetness to temper the heart. A friend's bear hug is sweaty and smelly, and it is not empty roar, but the secret love retreats and the steel is forged. In the end, transformation is not alone, but a rebirth in the heavy rain, and the youthful steel heart will never be broken. There was a dead silence in the audience at first, and Qin Feng's bare palm hit his knee. Eyes widened with bloodshot eyes and roared, "God!" The real story explodes the senses, self-doubt turns to fire and the readers scream. Qiao Zhixia's eyes were moist and trembling, screaming as a passerby girl. Jiang Chen's voice exploded from darkness, Humi Bear's roar came to life. Gu Sheng's gorgeousness is shattered, Brother Chen's true emotions are steel-thorned and heart-melting. Han Xiao glasses the tip of his nose was slicked, his brows were knitted together and he suddenly slapped the table. The advantages and disadvantages of both sides are clear. Gu Sheng's gorgeous brushwork is deeply poisonous, and the inferiority Yuan's writings directly hit the weaknesses, making the readers burst into tears. Jiang Chen's heart-sloughing rain and fire has delicate and real senses. The iron triangle's mutual transformation and transformation directly pokes at the theme, and the emotional twists and turns record the steel heart's rebirth, a narrow victory. The red light on the scoring screen flashed, Gu Sheng 85.6, Jiang Chen 86.2, a narrow victory to advance. The frenzy broke out in the audience, Qin Feng tanks rushed into the stage and hugged Jiang Chen. His bones rang with pain, and his ears were filled with sweat and hot breath. "King." The first round of the group was crushed. Qiao Zhixia threw her ponytail and swept her face with itching tenderness. Her nose was filled with tears filled with citrus scent, and her lips touched her cheeks and her lips were numb. "Protagonist, you did it." A passerby boy opened his eyes wide and trembled and murmured, "Impossible." Under the warm-up of the foreign aid team, Jiang Chen's true love, a genius who feels like a reversal. The iron triangle buff god. The girl screamed, "The ambiguous honey blessing makes my heart itch and change," and Gu Sheng's face is full of green veins. Jiang Chen's chest is as tight as a lead, but the psychological game is a secret. A narrow victory is not a crushing, self-doubt cracks are still there, the notebook record is accelerating, but Gu Sheng's eyes are as poisonous as snakes behind his sunglasses. Gu Sheng's thin figure flashed forward. He took off his trembling blue-haired sunglasses, revealing bloodshot eyes. He poked Jiang Chen's chest with his finger, making a painful sound. He sneered ghostly, narrow victory. Your real source, this notebook. I secretly read the scandal, and recorded every bit of life and inspiration in it. Campus legend. Fake. Plagiarizing trivial life and pseudo-transformation, revealing the truth, see the real chapter in the finals. There was a buzz in the audience, and passers-by's eyes widened and they poked at their mobile phones. Gu Sheng reveals the secret. The miracle of Jiang Chen's notebook. Recording emotional twists and turns, cheating. The literary club is excited, teacher Han his face was ashen. Han Xiao slapped the glass on the table with a bang, and glanced at the back of his glasses, evidence. Passed the preliminaries, fair investigation in the finals. Jiang Chen, keep your steel heart. Qin Feng roared in front of him, monkey away. Brother Chen internalized the source of the heart, the miracle is real gold. Qiao Zhixia covered Jiang Chen with his hands, his back felt hot, and he whispered softly into his ears, don't believe it. I know your heart. Jiang Chen's heart was as cold as ice, and the golden letters in his hand were burning with pain. The psychological game started again, secrets were exposed, the dark clouds of controversy were overwhelming, and the steel of self-confidence was cracked again. How can it be a crime to record the true nature of life? The setting sun lengthened the shadow of the venue, and the noisy preliminaries dispersed. Jiang Chen sat alone under the willow tree by the lake, and the shimmering water reflected the trembling pages of his notebook. Continued, the venue was muddy and gorgeous, the record of narrow victory turned into flames, the hidden hand of the controversy was revealed, and the source of inspiration surged in pain. The night is getting darker, the dormitory lights are on the night before the finals, Qin Feng snores and murmurs passionately for a while, the door knocks softly, Qiao Zhixia's ponytail figure flashes in, and the night breeze on her skirt is full of citrus fragrance. Her eyes were as moist as a lake, her pear dimples trembled and she came closer, her cheeks were numb with hot breath, and her palms covered his knees and intertwined with sticky fingers. Jiang Chen, you are dazzling in the preliminaries, and your self-doubt has turned into a steel heart. I have loved you since the broken shadows played. Before the finals, listen to my heart, I love you, not the muse, but the she who will never be broken. The corners of her lips touched her earlobe a few times, and the air was as sweet as honey. Jiang Chen's face was red, his pulse was beating wildly, his heart was filled with ambiguity, but he hesitated like a knife. The notebook was controversial, Gu Sheng's real chapter in the finals, the black mist of inferiority surged again, with her. How can I bear this honey if I am a useless introvert? He held her hand tightly and it was painful, and he muttered and stammered, Zhixia, I. There were faint footsteps outside the door, the night breeze rustled the wicker windows, and the black clouds were low and thunder was faint. The footsteps outside the dormitory door sounded like a ghost knocking, and Qin Feng's tank figure broke in. The bear's bloodshot eyes swept through the sweet fragrance of citrus in the air, and he roared with the smell of sweat and hot breath, Brother Chen. Did you stay up all night before the final? Door. The seam is hot and steamy, Zhixia's face is as red as a boiled shrimp. The iron triangle will never be broken, Gu Ho's true seal of finals, I'll step on it to warm up first. Qiao Zhixia's pear dimples trembled and twitched, the sticky heat between her fingers was still there, her ponytail swept the window in the rustling night. The wind fluttered her skirt, her eyes were wet and she whispered softly in her ears, Jiang Chen, steel heart in the finals, I will wait for you infinitely. Her figure flashed outside the door, the scent of citrus lingered around her nose, Jiang Chen's face was hot and his pulse was twitching, and the gold-lettered cover of the notebook stung his palms, and he continued to record in his mind, night interview with honey, hands and knees intertwined, lips touching ears, Qin Feng passionately pushed the iron triangle, and the black clouds of the finals overcame self-doubt, recording the transformation of all members, turned into youth infinite. The morning light of the shattering finals pierced the dark clouds, and the campus broadcast was broadcast live throughout the school, buzzing like thunder, the final battle of Group A of the Inter-School League Finals. The ultimate transformation of the genius Gu Sheng's Stars Without Regrets versus Jiang Chen's Heart Slaughter, Rain and Fire, the whole school live broadcast, a showdown of infinite youth. During the investigation of the laptop scandal, cheating and withdrawal are suspenseful. Jiang Chen shuffled into the classroom, the chalk dust bag buzzing like a rain of knives in the face. The classmates' eyes widened as the red light flashed on their mobile phone screen, and their fingers trembled as they poked comments. Gu Sheng retreated all night to warm up the post, notebook pseudo-inspiration, plagiarism of the broken dust of life's pseudo-transformation, genius with a heart of steel and no regrets crushing waste wood. Foreign aid team live broadcast likes, predictions. Jiang Chen was kicked out with 0 points. The boy in the back row punched the table and saw wood chips flying, his voice shaking like chaff. Is it luck to win the preliminaries? Thousands of people are watching the live broadcast. Gu Sheng's gorgeous collaboration. Jiang Chen is an introverted loser and has low self-esteem, quit the society and leave. The girl's eyes intertwined with whispers, and the sweet and fragrant perfume murmured, ambiguous, sweet and handsome by the lake, but pen the notebook revealed the dark cloud of cheating, and the readers burst into tears. Brother Chen's face was as gray as a corpse, and his heart was broken. Jiang Chen's pen cracked and cracked, ink sprayed out like blood and tears, and his throat was filled with sobs and inferiority surged wildly. The whole staff was ridiculed like 1,000 arrows piercing their hearts. Qin Feng and Xiao Iron Triangle's oath was shattered, and the gold characters in the notebook were scorched with ridicule. How can true records compete with the magnificence of genius? Retire from the competition to save face? No, the sweet lips, ears, and self-esteem collide in the dormitory. The live broadcast is dead, and the self-confidence collapses. The gymnasium at the midday finals venue was filled with darkness and crowds of people. The spotlights were hot and the sweat was evaporating and pungent. The air was mixed with sweet energy drinks, the earth was wet and smelly, the girl's perfume was sweet and the boy's sweat was smoldering like a powder keg. The big live broadcast screen of the whole school was flashing with red lights and scoring real-time. The audience was buzzing like an exploding honeycomb. Qin Feng tank squeezed into the front row and waved his arms and roared, "Iron Triangle. Brother Chen will burn Gu Monkey infinitely. The live broadcast will be stomped." Qiao Zhixia's ponytail flew close to the side, and the light on her skirt revealed her fair and moist calves. Her eyes were filled with worry, and her palm accidentally touched Jiang Chen's arm and shocked him with sticky electricity. "Jiang Chen, remember the night honey in the dormitory, I love your steel heart infinitely." Jiang Chen's heart beat wildly and his face turned red, but he couldn't suppress Gu Sheng on the stage. A thin blue-haired figure flashed, sunglasses covered bloodshot eyes, the manuscript was ghostly, and the follower Lan Mao trembled and whispered, "The boss's no regrets in the stars is the ultimate, integrating all the weaknesses of the pseudo-inspiration of the notebook, the foreign aid team's live broadcast linkage, a masterpiece." Han Xiao's tall figure midfield, the eyes behind his glasses swept the audience, the microphone clang was deafening. The final live broadcast begins. Gu Sheng's Stars Without Regrets comes first, the theme is youthful transformation. Gu Sheng's steps were frivolous on the stage, his shadow was elongated like a ghost, his pale and thin face was reflected by the hot lights, his voice was deep and the poisonous needles wrapped in gorgeous velvet pierced his heart. The big screen opened and the subtitles scrolled simultaneously. The stars fell into the black abyss. The low self-esteem loser borrowed notebooks for pseudo-inspiration, plagiarized the trivial matters of life and pseudo-transformed. The steel heart of a genius has no regrets. Pressure, youth is forever shattered by gorgeous hands. The foreign aid team collaborated, the bubble of rain and fire burst, and the iron triangle joke collapsed. The screams in the audience exploded like a volcano, and the girl's eyes were wet and trembling, tears rolled down and she screamed, "Gu Sheng's magic pen." The black abyss of false inspiration penetrated the heart, and the low self-esteem was alive, and the boy's heart exploded after reading steel. His fists hit his knees and his bloodshot eyes roared, "The gorgeous linkage is poisonous." The laptop scandal turned into a sharp blade, thousands of people burst into tears during the live broadcast, and Jiang Chen resigned from the company with 0 points. Qin Feng's bare palm hit the ground with cracks, and his throat choked with sobs. As he was about to break, he bit his lip and murmured tremblingly, "Don't break it, yours is so infinite." Jiang Chen's heart was crushed like 1,000 knives, the heat of the spotlight steamed his sweat and blood, and the black mist of inferiority exploded and engulfed him. Gu Sheng crushed her gorgeously, the notebook reveal was amplified live, everyone ridiculed like hell, the iron triangle was shattered, honey love was shattered, and the writer's dream was shattered, retirement. No, the self-esteem steel needle pricks the heart, recording the twists and turns, and the spring is faint. It was Jiang Chen's turn, and he stumbled onto the stage with heavy steps. The spotlight was like a furnace roasting his skin, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead to dazzle his eyes. The cover of his notebook with gold letters was tentacled with ice and fire. The audience was buzzing with ridicule, and he took a deep breath to continue writing in his mind, broadcasting the stinking tide of mud and sweat to thousands of people. Gu Sheng's gorgeous poisonous needle poked into the dark abyss of false inspiration, the pressure avalanche and self-esteem exploded, recording the transformation process of all members. The honey bear roared at the red pen knife, Gu Du turned to envy, and Nu Xia Yongai turned into a shocking full-length, youth infinite. The voice was hoarse at first, like a flickering candle, and gradually exploded with a clanging metal. The stars are not falling, but bathing in infinite fire. The abyss of inferiority is deep, and recording every detail of life in a notebook is not plagiarism, but the source of true inner transformation. The girl's ponytail hugging her by the rainstorm lake is not pity, but a heartbeat. The scent of citrus is sticky and hot, the lips touch the earlobe and the heart melts, the vines of love are wildly wrapped around the self-esteem and steel, and the sweaty roar of the friend tank is not empty, but the iron triangle of secret love will never break the bond. The mud of the playground is quenched by blood and sweat, and the teacher's red pen and knife are like burning paper. Pages, delicate senses explode and self-doubt rekindles. Even the pain in the chest when the blue-haired poisonous needle of the old enemy is stabbed is not hatred, but the collision of real secret pain. Under the dust of pseudo-gloriousness, the steel heart turns infinitely without regrets. In the end, the infinite youth is not borrowed, but the transformation of all members. The notebook is forever burning, the twists and turns of life are transformed into fire and steel. The large screen subtitles scroll and the senses are exploded, sweet ears and sticky breath, bears smelling hot and sweaty, red pens burning and ink smelling, blue hair poking ghosts and ghosts, integrating the twists and turns of the preliminaries, small competitions in the society, charity sales, and the frolic of broken shadows. The audience was as silent as a cemetery. Qin Feng's bear's eyes were as round as a copper bell and bloodshot burst. The bear's paw hit his knee bone and cracked his kneecap with a loud roar that shook the sky. Masterpiece. Everyone transformed and came to life. Honey Bear's red knife and blue poison exploded all senses. The black abyss of inferiority turned into infinite steel fire. Thousands of people knelt down during the live broadcast. The roar of the lip bear is vivid, the heart melts with infinite itching. Gu Sheng is gorgeous and shatters, and Brother Chen is really steel-pierced in the soul. Han Xiao's glasses slid off the tip of his nose, his eyebrows suddenly hit the table glass and shattered, his eyes turned into adoration and he murmured, "Shocking." Youth Infinite records the real transformation of all the members. The senses are delicate and twists and turns, and the theme is infinite. The notebook is not fake, it is a miracle of the heart. A passerby boy's eyes bulged and trembled, and his mobile phone wildly recorded, "Impossible." Under the pressure of live broadcast, a useless introvert turned genius. All members of the Iron Triangle are buff gods. After reading this, their inferiority complex turned into tears. The girls screamed and sprayed the stolen perfume, the ambiguous honey lips are blessed infinitely, the heart is itchy and transformed, and the green veins on Gu Sheng's face are bursting with blood. Gu Sheng's blue-haired thin figure trembled in the audience, and her sunglasses smashed on the ground. The manuscript fell to the ground, bloodshot eyes widened, throat choked with sobs and collapsed, shouting, Your truth. The notebook records the inspiration of life. I hide my envy under the gorgeous connection, the inferiority black abyss swallows my steel heart, no regrets. Fake. Your infinity is the true chapter of youth. The follower Lanmaji knelt softly and murmured, "Boss, give up." The foreign aid team is stunned by the live broadcast. Jiang Chen's miracle steel fire burns the soul. The red light on the scoring screen flashed and jumped wildly. Gu Sheng 92.8, Jiang Chen 94.1, counterattack and crushing. The audience stood up and applauded like an earthquake. Qin Feng's tanks rushed onto the stage and hugged Jiang Chen's bones with rattling pain. His sweaty and hot breath sprayed into his ears and roared, "The king is infinite." Everyone transformed and stepped on Gu Monkey, the iron triangle will burn forever. Qiao Zhixia pounced on her ponytail and swept her face until it was itchy. She held a citrus scent with teardrops and felt hot and hit her nose. She touched her cheeks with her lips and whispered in tears, "Protagonist. I love you infinitely, steel heart will melt forever." Han Xiao stepped on the stage with high heels and patted his shoulder with bright eyes, the best newcomer. The notebook investigation is terminated, the real heart source campus legend. Passers-by screamed and buzzed, the god of reversal. Live broadcast, thousands of people worshipped, the transformation of the loser is infinite. Gu Sheng collapsed and envied the certification. Jiang Chen's chest was tight, and the psychological game was better than the steel fire. The golden words in the notebook warmed the palms, and the continuation was surging. All the members of the live broadcast were mocking and worshipping. Gu Bengxian was really infinite in his long story, and the twists and turns turned the fire into self-doubt, but the lights on the judges' table flickered, and Han Xiao frowned and whispered, "The champion is suspense, the judges' discussion has been extended, and the mysterious foreign aid has not been revealed in the finale." The lights in the whole place suddenly dimmed, and the buzzing started again and the black clouds loomed. Hidden, Gu Sheng's thin shadow flashed outside the door and her sunglasses were stomped on. She muttered with poisonous eyes, "Infinite, the true chapter of the final, the championship is not finished." Jiang Chen's heart was like a needle, and he held the notebook tightly. Qin Feng's arms were wrapped around his shoulders, and Qiao Zhixia's hands were sticky and sweet. Under the long lamp, the live screen's red light flashed and the delay timer ticked, and the infinite suspense of youth exploded. The shadow of the spotlight flickered like a wandering ghost, the air in the stadium was stagnant and turned into a lead weight pressing against the chest, the smell of sweat and sweet perfume mixed into the smell of smoldering gunpowder, and the red light on the live broadcast screen flashed like a pulse and the countdown ticked like a heart spasm. Thousands of people in the audience roared with a low voice like the whispers of hell. The boys on the road clenched their bones with fists. The camera of the mobile phone video trembled and commented, "Gu Sheng is gorgeous and undefeated in 92.8. Jiang Chen's 94.1 is a real explosion but the finale is suspenseful. The foreign aid team reverses in conjunction. The dream of a loser is on the verge of being shattered." The girl's eyes were wet with panic, and she sprayed perfume randomly and hit her nose with a clip. She screamed and whispered, "Brother Chen, steel fire," felt so itchy that he burst into tears after reading infinitely. Gu Ho, Lan Mao, collapsed and gave up. The champion extended his death, and the iron triangle's love was shattered into slag. Qin Feng's arms were wrapped around Jiang Chen's shoulders, and hot smelly sweat was sprayed into his nose. Tank's chest was muffled and he roared low. His head choked up with sobs, black clouds of suspense. Brother Chen is the final foreign aid, Gu Ho is still alive and will definitely counterattack, the iron triangle's steel heart is on the verge of breaking. Qiao Zhixia's ponytail sticks to her neck with sweat, her paired dimples tremble and her palms are placed between Jiang Chen's fingers and the electric shock is hot and sticky, the scent of citrus lingers around her nose and she whispers softly, "Jiang Chen, infinite love, you, don't let suspense swallow steel fire." The golden words in the notebook in Jiang Chen's palm are as hot as fire, and the embers of inferiority are faintly rekindled, and he is writing in his mind, the live broadcast prolongs the wave of death, the black mist of suspense about foreign aid overwhelms everyone's fear and turns to doubt, record Gu Sheng's collapse and envy of the truth, and the twists and turns will rekindle into an infinite chapter. The long table in the judging panel was filled with ghostly lights. Han Xiao's tall figure had eyebrows as sharp as knives, his glasses slid off his nose, and the glass shattered with a clanging sound. The microphone buzzed loudly and the whole audience was silent. Mysterious foreign aid finale discussion has been extended. Gu Sheng's foreign aid team warms up with a gorgeous linkage. The real investigation of Jiang Chen's notebook was terminated, and the score on the theme of youth transformation was slightly different. The championship is still in suspense. The buzz in the audience erupted like a volcano again, and the boys in the back row's eyes bulged with bloodshot eyes. They roared and punched the chair, and sawdust flew. Foreign aid team. Gu Sheng's blue hair gorgeous and immortal. Jiang Chen's pseudo-inspiration is deep, and thousands of people predict the reversal of dreams during the live broadcast. The girl screamed, the perfume mist filled her nose, and her eyes were filled with tears. The edge of the army is broken. Jiang Chen's steps are staggering like lead, the heat of the spotlight is steaming and the sweat is dazzling, and the black mist of inferiority is engulfing the steel heart. The masterpiece 94.1 crushes the gorgeous, but the foreign aid is suspenseful and pierces the heart. The golden light of the notebook is dim and ridiculed. Exit to save face. The iron triangle is shattered, the honey lips are shattered, the campus legend is shattered, the throat is choked, the pulse is pulsing and on the verge of collapse. Suddenly, there was a ghostly sound of clattering debris at the side door. Gu Sheng's thin blue-haired figure flashed back like a ghost resurrected. His sunglasses were shattered and the soles of his feet were grinding into powder, which stung his nose. His pale and thin face was bloodshot and his eyes were wide and trembling. The manuscript fell to the ground with a rustling sound. The pages flew away like fallen leaves, and his voice was hoarse and shattered like debris. The eardrums of the audience exploded as Zhu Miju roared, "Stop, the foreign aid team cooperates, the gorgeous steel heart has no regrets." Fake. My stars without regrets, the poisonous needle stabs you into the abyss of inferiority, all hidden envy. The entire audience was as silent as a tomb. Qin Feng's bare eyes and copper bells exploded. His palm cracked on the ground and he roared loudly, "Gu Ho counterattack." After Lan Mao collapsed, he surrendered to the drama, and the situation turned around. Qiao Zhixia stiffly held Jiang Chen's fingers to cut off the heat and sticky. Her eyes were watery and fearful of the heat and whispered. His eyes turned dark with poison, and his steel heart was broken. A passerby boy the mobile phone was wildly recording with shaking eyes and bulging eyes. Impossible. The genius ace's sunglasses shattered and roared with envy, and thousands of people were stunned during the live broadcast. The girl sprayed perfume randomly and screamed and whispered. The thin blue-haired figure returns as a ghost, and exposes himself to the dark abyss in a gorgeous linkage. Brother Chen will definitely win the infinite finale. Gu Sheng stumbled closer to the steps, his blue hair was as messy as grass, beads of sweat rolled down his pale face and dazzled his eyes, his knees thumped and sawdust flew, his throat was choked with bloodshot tears, and he collapsed and yelled at Chenliao, "Jiang Chen, your pen the notebook records every detail of life, it is not plagiarism, it is a true miracle of the heart." The sticky heat on Humi's ears and lips, the stinky blood and sweat of the roaring bear, the burnt red pen and the exploding fragrance of ink, and even the pain caused by the poisonous needle in my blue hair, the transformation of all members is vivid. The black abyss of self-esteem turns to the infinite steel fire, directly piercing the true chapter of youth. He slapped his chest with thin palms like thunder, and his voice cracked and trembled like a candle in the wind. I Gu Sheng, under the aura of genius, the pressure collapsed. The parent steel whips are gorgeously linked, the foreign aid team's poo warms up the fake steel heart. I crush you in the preliminaries and the small competition in the club, but my self-esteem is swallowed up every night. Your true twists and turns, I envy Sui Chen's disguise. The final score is gorgeous 92.8. Give up. The golden light of the notebook burns my steel heart, and I have no regrets. The follower Lan Mao's legs were weak and trembling, and his eyes were bulging with bloodshot eyes. Boss, the live broadcast of the foreign aid group collapsed. Jiang Chen's miracle is truly invincible. The whole audience roared with thunder and applause, and Qin Feng's tank rushed forward and shook the sky. Gu Ho kneels down in envy. The pressure of the black abyss is revealed, the gorgeous dust is serious, the iron triangle is infinitely burning. The passerby boys punched their knees with bloody marks and roared, the genius fell to his knees in defeat. Live broadcast thousands of people burst into tears and worshipped. Gu Sheng regretted the envy and poked his heart, Brother Chen, the god of steel. The girl's eyes were moist and screamed, the sweet perfume hit her nostrils. Lan Mao collapsed and cried, the pressure avalanche confessed to be endlessly itchy, the protagonist Jiang Chen is invincible and loved to death. Han Xiao stepped on the stage with high heels and her eyes flashed with admiration behind her glasses. She slapped the table with the shattering glass and shouted loudly, Gu Sheng voluntarily admits defeat. The foreign aid team linkage is invalid. Jiang Chen's Youth Infinite 94.1 Championship Trailer. The notebook investigation is terminated, the true heart of the school legend, the club will be passed down forever. The big screen read, the lights flashed and the score was locked. Jiang Chen's golden name flashed like a galaxy. The whole audience stood up and screamed like an earthquake. The boys on the passerby stared wildly and trembled with their mobile phones. They poked wildly, the god of championship prediction. Gu Xian's defeat, the loser reversed the legend, and the live broadcast broke the record and worshipped. The girl burst into tears and rolled down the perfume mist. Pen, the golden light of the notebook is forever burning, the youth is infinite and the heart is itching and exploding, Brother Chen is invincible. Gu Sheng's thin figure fell to his knees, his blue hair was sticky with sweat, his face was stained with tears, his eyes were dim and shattered with regret. I had known, truth is better than beauty, the pressure of the black abyss swallows me, and we form an alliance, iron four corners. Qin Feng's bare palm slapped Gu's shoulder bones, and his breath was hot and smelly. He laughed loudly and roared, Brother Monkey surrendered and joined the alliance. Confession of pressure and passion, iron triangle and blue hair will burn endlessly. Jiang Chen's heart was as tight as flying, the black mist of self-esteem was extinguishing and the steel fire exploded. The notebook continued with warm palms. Gu Sheng knelt down in envy and surrendered to the alliance under pressure. The live broadcast was defeated and turned into worship. After all the twists and turns, all members transformed into a long chapter, infinite rebirth. Qiao Zhixia's ponytail flew forward, her skirt was illuminated by the light, her legs were moist and trembling, her pear-shaped eyes were full of moist tears, and her nose was hot and hot. The sweet scent of citrus honey held her soft breath and she whispered in her ears, Jiang Chen, there are unlimited champions, and a steel heart will melt forever, I love you. She held Jiang Chen's arm with electric shock and felt sticky. Her fingertips slid down her neck and her heart felt numb and itchy. She swept her ponytail across his face and it felt as soft as a feather. She stood on tiptoe and touched the corner of Jiang Chen's lips with her lips in the heat of the lights. The sparks of their first kiss shot through her heart like lightning. The lips are soft and sweet with the hot breath of citrus, the tip of the tongue unintentionally licks the electric numbness and itches straight into the mind, the breath is sticky and hot, the heartbeat is pounding like thunder, Jiang Chen's face is red and his pulse is trembling, his throat is choked and melting, the collision of self-esteem turns to the madness of love, the honey in the dormitory sublimates the first kiss and itches to death. Qin Feng's eyes were bloodshot and he laughed loudly and took 3 steps back, honey kiss sparks. Iron triangle plus unlimited monkeys, Zhixia protagonist's lips flutter and electric numb god. Passers-by girls screamed and sprayed perfume, eyes burst into tears of envy, the first kiss was delicate, sticky and hot. The ears and lips by the lake sublime, the heart melts, the infinite itching of youth makes me love to death. The boy smashed his fists and roared, excuse me. The live broadcast of the white kiss scene has exceeded 10,000 yuan. The protagonist of Brother Chen is invincible. The envy of Gu Niling's allies is turning passionate. Gu Sheng's thin figure raised his head and his blue hair trembled, his bloodshot eyes flashed with envy and murmured, true love is fire. I also envy it. Han Xiao's glasses were filled with fog and he smiled and patted his shoulder, the true seal of youthful transformation. The legend of the Notebook Club, Jiang Chen is the best newcomer forever. Thunderous applause surged from the audience, the smelly perfume and mud mixed with energy drinks were sweet and pungent, and the red light on the live broadcast screen flashed wildly and the barrage exploded, championship preview plus first kiss masterpiece. Gu defeated and knelt down to make an alliance, the four corners of iron are infinite, notebook miracle campus legend. Qin Feng tank bare the bones of the three of them hugged Gu Sheng and Jiang Chen made a crackling sound, and they roared with sweat and stinky heat and pushed wildly in their ears, the new iron four corners will burn Gu Ho. Pressure turns to blood, and the chapter will continue indefinitely. Qiao Zhixia pressed Jiang Chen's arm to the citrus scent that lingered in her nose, and the residual heat at the corners of her lips tingled and murmured, the protagonist, will always love the heart of steel. Jiang Chen's chest the golden words in Men Songfei's notebook are gentle, and the memory is hidden in his mind, the sparks of the first kiss of the kneeling alliance, the champion's prediction of the legend, but the radio buzzed and the lights came on. The principal's tall figure flashed into the award podium, and the microphone clang was as low as thunder, the final award. The principal is here, mysteriously the surprise finale is revealed. Infinite youth, a new era for the campus. Gu Sheng's thin blue-haired figure stood up and trembled, his eyes brightened and whispered, the surprise is not over yet. Jiang Chen's heart was filled with excitement and joy. Under the long iron figure, under the lamp, the live broadcast timer started again, and the black cloud of suspense faintly exploded. The spotlight heat wave slowly recedes, the air in the stadium changes from the smoldering gunpowder to the sweet aftertaste of honey, the odor of sweat and the earthy smell of perfume gradually fades away, and the sweet steam of energy drinks is mixed with the whispers of passers-by and hums like summer cicadas at the beginning of their rest. The hearts of thousands of people in the audience were pounding, the red light on the live screen pulsed slowly, and the barrage was raining wildly, iron four corners divine alliance plus first kiss electric anesthesia. Gu Qiuxian's blood is turning, the notebook miracle will be passed down forever, and the principal's surprise is the finale. The principal's tall figure stepped onto the podium, the clang of high heels echoed with the muffled sound of the wooden boards, and the eyes behind the glasses like stars sweeping across the audience, the microphone hummed with a low voice like thunder. Jiang Chen, Youth Infinite, has a score of 94.1 points, and is the champion of Group A of the Inter-School League. Gu Sheng's Stars Without Regrets is the runner-up with a score of 92.8, and the true chapter of youthful transformation will burn forever on campus. He waved his hand, and the golden trophy was dazzlingly gleaming. The sun burst, and the broken crystal light inlaid on the blue velvet mat fell on Jiang Chen's palms. The bonus check was rolled up in red paper and the numbers were eye-catching, 50,000 yuan bonus plus publishing opportunity directly to the city publishing house, notebook heart source investigation terminated, campus legend newcomer king. The whole audience burst into thunderous applause, and the eyes of passerby boys stared. The round bloodshot fist hit the knee and the blood mark dried up, roaring in the throat, the championship gold cup is hot. The loser turned around and published it directly, and the live broadcast exceeded 100,000 people to worship God Chen. The girl's eyes were hydrated, paired dimples bloomed with perfume mist, her nose was filled with sour tears, and she murmured, 94.1 infinite itch makes the heart melt, the school bell's kiss sublimates the fire of love, and the iron four corners will be passed down forever. The golden cup in Jiang Chen's palm is as heavy as the top of a mountain, and the black mist of inferiority has dissipated into the warm embers of the steel fire. His mind flashes back to the dim candles on his birthday night, the introverted boy huddled in the dormitory, and the shadow of the lights in the dormitory is lengthened. The golden letters in the notebook are first hot printed, record life, inspiration comes from the true heart. At that time, inspiration dried up like the echo of a desert bell, and society in the small competition, Gu Sheng smashed the second place brilliantly, mocking the blue-haired poisonous needle that stabbed his heart and swallowed his inferiority. Now the heat wave of the gold cup is rushing through his arms, the publishing contract ink is fragrant in his nose, his throat is slightly choked, his pulse is steady, and his eyes are scanning the four corners of the iron. Qin Feng tank bear's chest is heaving, beads of sweat are rolling down his hot and smelly nose, and he is laughing loudly. Brother Chen, King Jin. Publishing is directly connected to us. Iron Four Corners teamed up to publish a book, and the infinite chapter continues to hit the whole school. Gu Sheng, a thin figure with blue hair, stood firm. Her legs were weak and still trembling, her pale face was bloodshot and her eyes were bright, and she whispered with envy, "Real publishing, I joined, a passionate new life after the Confession of Pressure, the sequel to the Iron Four Corners team notebook." Qiao Zhixia's ponytail was sticky on her neck, sweaty and trembling, and her jade hands covered the river. The sticky citrus tail fragrance of Chen Arm's electric shock lingered around his nose, and the residual heat on his lips was itchy, and he whispered with moist eyes, "Champion Steel Heart, together in the future, eternal love will be endless." Han Xiao, a tall figure, wiped the fog from his glasses with his brows untied, slapped his shoulder bones with a muffled sound and worshipped Shinkan and shouted, "Jiang Chen has transformed into an ace." Directly recommended by the president of the club, the new publisher will forever pass down the school history. The aftermath of the award ceremony spread like a warm current. Passers-by boys gathered around the stage and poked at the video camera with their mobile phones, trembling and bulging eyes. Golden Cup plus 50,000 plus publishing. Gu Ho kneeled at the four corners of the alliance. Brother Chen shared his notebook to hear the source of the miracle. The girls screamed, spraying perfume, the hem of their skirts flying into their nostrils, their eyes turned to admiration and tears bursting into tears. The honey kiss of the school beauty is exquisite, and the youth is endlessly read and relived with itch. The legendary story is passed down to the whole school. Jiang Chen's footsteps were steady on the steps with the sound of sawdust, and the notebook's golden hand warmly continued. The principal's golden cup of 50,000 yuan was published at the end. The spotlight turned white and the gym door opened, cool breeze and the smell of night rain hit your face, the whole school was surging and the exits were buzzing. Qin Feng's arms were wrapped around Jiang Chen's shoulder bones, hot and smelly sweat was spraying, and the tank's footsteps were shaking and roaring down his throat. "Let's go." Sharing notebooks in the playground night talk, Iron Square's book plan is burning. Gu Sheng's slim figure followed as the wind blew her neck, her eyes darkened and she murmured, her steps trembling, "After the pressure avalanche, the real team, I'm a gorgeous foreign aid." Qiao Zhixia's sticky arms and ponytail swept over her face, and the shadow of her skirt was elongated, revealing her moist calves, and she smiled softly. The protagonist shares. "I'll listen to your transformation of mind, and love promises the future." The night breeze on the playground is as cool as silk, the school uniform is wet with sweat, the stars are sparse and the earth is wet and smelly after the rain, the yellow halo of the street lamp elongates the four-corner shadow of the iron, and the wooden thorns on the bench lightly prick the palms of the hands. The lights of the dormitory in the distance are like the embers of a heart fire. Students from all over the school gathered around the three-story circle, their mobile phones flashing brightly and buzzing, whispering, sharing the notebook legend. Brother Chen records the miracle of life through reading, from useless to champion. Qin Feng Tank crossed his legs and slapped his knees with his paws, laughing loudly, and roared with sweaty and hot breath, "Brothers." On Jiang Chen's birthday, he blew out the candles and made a wish, and inspiration came from the golden words in the notebook. Xiaomi's lips were sticky and hot by the lake, I was quenched by blood and sweat when roaring, Teacher Han's red pen was burnt and the ink was fragrant, Gu Ho's blue hair was stung by a poisonous needle, all the members had twists and turns, their senses exploded, their inferiority complex turned infinite. The masterpiece of Youth Infinite 94.1, this is the true source of the heart. The passerby boy's eyes bulged and his fists clenched with bones, and he shouted, "Wish for a miracle." The useless guy huddled up in the dormitory, and was crushed by Gu in the second place in the preliminaries, and Gu in the finals. Kneeling in envy, I collapsed and surrendered, the publishing team was invincible. The girl's sweet honey perfume hit her nose in the night breeze, her eyes were wet and moist, and she murmured with emotion, recording every bit of inspiration, the school bell's lips are sublimated with electric numbness. After reading it, I feel itchy and burst into tears when I revisit it, the legend will burn forever. Jiang Chen's throat tightened slightly as he recalled the black mist. The candle ashes flew away on the birthday of a boy with low self-esteem. The solitary lamp in the dormitory was first recorded in his notebook, and the exhausted inspiration echoed in the air like broken shadows. The tide of ridicule surged and he was second in the small competition in the club. Gu Sheng's gorgeous poisonous needle with blue hair flashed to pierce his heart. The prototype of Desert Bells gradually emerged, the twists and turns of Shattered Shadows were recorded, the love sprouted in Shadows of Shadows, the friendship was tempered in Shadows of Hearts, until the final, Youth Infinite, the full-length feature came to life, and the inferiority complex exploded. The pages of the notebook were warm in the palm of his hand, and he continued to read the excerpt in a low voice. The birthday candles were extinguished, the inward black mist pressed over the top, Gu Molan was stung by the poison, Qin Feng's sweat roared, Xiao Mi's lips were sticky and numb. There were endless twists and turns. The dead silence in the audience turned into a low voice, and passers-by boys shouted. With a trembling mobile phone, she was recording with bloodshot eyes and yelling, "Record the truth in my heart." From huddled inferiority to gold cup self-confidence, the champion transforms into a bone-marrow reader. The girl's tears rolled down her face and her perfume condensed in the mist, and she sobbed. The collision of self-esteem turns to love, the truth of youth is infinitely touching, Brother Chen shares his love. Qin Feng's bear's eyes, the shining copper bell, and its paws slapped Jiang Chen's back with a muffled hot and smelly roar that shook the night sky. Brother Chen has transformed into a god. Tai Sijiao's book publishing plan, I edited the postscript with passion, Gu Ho's gorgeous linkage supplements, Xiao Mi's love for fire illustrations, Jiang Chen's notebook spindle, direct publishing house no. Only for long rolls. Gu Sheng's thin face is pale and the tears are dry, her blue hair is sticky with blood on her neck, and her eyes are filled with blood and blood. She is so thin that her fists are trembling and her throat is choked. Join. Pressure parents steel-whipped pussy to be gorgeous, foreign aid team's poo warms up the dust, now I envy the truth, Iron the Four Corners team complimented me and published Youth Infinite Expansion to hit the whole country. A passerby boy punched his palms and shouted with his eyes raised, the publishing team is Iron Four Corners. Gu Ho joined the alliance with passion, the loser turned the national legend, and worshipped the sky. The girl screamed and her skirt flew up. The pair vortex exploded, the illustrations of love are sweet, the infinite scroll is itchy, and the campus is in a new era. Han Xiao's high heels stepped into the mud with a clang, and the eyes behind his glasses sparkled with admiration and he clapped his hands loudly, the club will be passed down forever. The publication of the book directly promotes the market award, and President Jiang Chen leads the transformation. Qiao Zhixia's ponytail fluttered lightly in the night breeze and hit Jiang Chen's shoulders. She slipped her jade hand between her fingers to shock the sticky citrus hot breath and murmured in her ears. Her moist eyes trembled with numbness at the corners of her lips. Jiang Chen. From an introverted boy to a confident protagonist, record the sparks of my first kiss as my ears turned and my lips turned, and my self-esteem was misunderstood. After the break, love sprouted. A promise for the future, after graduation, we will pursue our dream of publishing together, and we will love each other forever. She stood on tiptoe and her breath was wet and hot. Her lips lightly touched Jiang Chen's cheek, and an electric tingling went to her heart. The lingering taste of sweetness on her tongue was mixed with the cool night breeze, and her heartbeat was beating wildly, melting the embers of self-esteem. Jiang Chen's face turned red, his pulse trembled wildly, and his throat softened. He held his fingers with the warmth of the steel fire and whispered, "Zhixia, jot down your every detail in the notebook, and the love promise will burn forever." Qin Feng laughed and stepped back, shouting and pushing, the god of honey. Iron Four Corners plus infinite love, publish a book and it will explode all over the country. Gu Sheng, a thin figure with blue hair, raised his head and murmured in envy. True love. I also envy the new life. The crowd of spectators murmured and turned to thunder, and the passers-by boys' eyes widened and trembled, shouting, "The school bell's promise is delicate and sticky. Brother Chen is confident that he is the king, and friendship and love are legendary." The girls sprayed perfume and burst into tears. "I will die of eternal love in the future, and the whole school will be melted by the transformation of youth." As the night wind cools down, the stars light up, and the iron square shadow stretches out under the street lamp. The palm warmth of the notebook continues with gold characters, reflection on growth and transformation of self-confidence. The publishing team Iron Square makes an agreement: Xiaomi will love forever in the future, the whole school will share the warm current of the aftermath, and the campus legend will burn forever. The broadcast buzzed faintly in the distance, and the lights of the dormitory building flickered like the pulsation of heart fire. Qin Feng stood up, waved his arms and roared, "It's over. The club will continue tomorrow, and the graduation ceremony will be the finale, the notebook's final secret." The principal hints that the new era will explode. Gu Sheng's slim figure stood up. His eyes were steady and he whispered, "The secret is not over yet, the four corners of the iron are ready for battle." Qiao Zhixia's arms were sticky and she smiled softly and her nose was filled with tangerine, the protagonist. "Graduation is announced, I love you infinitely." Jiang Chen's heart was secretly happy, and his mind flashed, graduation ceremony, the final secret of the notebook is revealed. The whole place was buzzing after the surge dissipated, and mobile phone barrage flashed in the night sky. Iron Four Corners publishes a book plus honey date god. The secret graduation explosion of the notebook, the campus legend continues endlessly. The wet smell of earth mixed with the aftertaste of perfume, the warm current of achievement spreads in the heart, and the new era of youthful transformation quietly pulses. The night wind stirred up the fallen leaves on the edge of the playground, and the wet mud mixed with the aftertaste of perfume wrapped around the tip of the nose like a honey-sweet tail. The iron square figure stretched into the outline of a giant beast in the yellow halo of the street lamp. The final swing of the Qin Feng tank's bare arm shook the wooden thorns of the benches and cracked, and the roar overwhelmed the buzzing tide. Yong, beginning. Tomorrow's graduation ceremony, the secret of the notebook is finally revealed by the principal. Iron Four Corners is preparing to publish a book that will blow up the whole country. Gu Sheng, a thin figure with blue hair, stood firm, her legs and knees were shaking, her pale cheeks were firm and bloodshot, her eyes were bright, and she muttered, her throat choked like broken glass, "Secret. I am a new student in Black Abyss, and the team is gorgeous and unbreakable." Qiao Zhixia's ponytail swept across Jiang Chen's shoulders and felt as soft as feathers. The sticky jade fingers were numb with electric shock, and the pear vortex trembled and whispered in her ears, "Protagonist. I will love you forever after graduation, and I will stick to you infinitely." The whole school's students dispersed in waves. The flashes of mobile phones were dazzling like a shower of stars, and the passerby boys punched and slapped their palms with a muffled sound, bulging their eyes and shouting, "God of honey." The secret finale, the legend of Brother Chen continues to burn in college. The girl's tears rolled down her skirt and sprayed out mist, and she cried in a whirlpool, "Love is itching to death, and the new era of youth is pulsating." The lights in the dormitory are as bright as the embers of a heart fire. Jiang Chen is sitting alone at his desk, turning the pages of his notebook with gold characters warmly in his palm. The fragrance of ink is fragrant and the night rain is ticking outside the window. The afterimage of the black fog in his mind is flashing back, the ashes of the birthday candle are flying away and he is curled up with inferiority. Gu Sheng is blue and poisonous. The second heartbreak in the ridicule society, Qin Feng's roar has not broken through the dark abyss. Qiao Zhixia's self-esteem and misunderstanding have been shattered for the first time. Now the golden cup is still hot in the arm veins, the numbers on the red paper of the publishing contract are bulging, and the 50,000 bonus transfer ringtone is ringing, and the phone is vibrating. His throat tightened slightly, and he continued in a low voice, "The Iron Four Corners of the Playground Night Talk, the book project is all over the country, Xiaomi's future is sticky, the suspense of graduation, the final secret of the notebook, what should the confident king fear?" There was thunder outside the window, and raindrops hit the glass, and there was a stab in my heart. The secret is revealed. Will the miracle investigation be restarted? The publishing team is broken. The black mist of inferiority quietly climbed up and my fingertips became cold. On the day of the graduation ceremony, the air in the auditorium was as hot as a gunpowder keg, the smell of sweat mixed with perfume and the wet mud steamed. Thousands of people crowded in, the seats creaked and squeezed, and the heartbeats surged. The red light on the live screen pulsed wildly and the barrage rained down like honey. Graduation finale at Iron Square. Pen. The secret of the notebook is revealed. The book is published across the country plus the secret date is forever. The legendary University of Brother Qin continues. The tall figure of the principal stepped onto the red carpet and the high heels echoed with the thunder of the wooden boards. The eyes behind his glasses scanned the audience, and the microphone buzzed with a deep throat. Classmates, the eternal transformation of youth on campus. Directly published by Jiang Chen's Youth Infinite, the Iron Xiao team publishes the book and is hotly discussed by publishing houses. Today's finale, the final secret of the notebook miracle investigation. The silence in the audience turned to a low hum, and the eyes of the passers-by were turned on. Eyes wide with bloodshot eyes, fists clenching with bones, roaring, throat shattering, secret explosion. The source of the useless wish. Has the investigation been terminated? The girl's eyes were moist and perfume-filled, and she trembled, and her nose was sour. The campus beauty is sticky and will always be loved, the legendary Itchy Heart University. Jiang Chen stepped onto the steps, his legs and knees softened, and the black mist of self-esteem weighed on his head like a mountain avalanche. His mind flashed to the Qing finals and he knelt down to admit defeat. His pale face was filled with envy. Qin Feng roared and the night talk on the playground was so hot and smelly. Qiao Zhixia's lips touched the electric numbness and her heart felt itchy. Now the spotlight is scorching the heat, and the sweat on his forehead rolls down into his lips. The gold letters in the notebook in his palm are as hot as fire, and he is afraid. If the secret is not a wish, will the miracle team be disillusioned? The principal opened the blue velvet pad with a big wave of his hand, and the replica of the notebook was filled with glittering gold letters and shimmering crystal light. The investigative report was rolled up with red paper and the numbers bulged out. No external force, the magic comes from Jiang Chen's heart. Birthday candles make wishes to record life, real inspiration comes from it, a grandfather's relic, a hidden writer's notebook in school history. 50 years ago, it also counterattacked the inter-school championship and transformed into a national bestseller. The audience roared with thunder and applause, and the front row of the Qin Feng tank had chests heaving, beads of sweat, and a smell of hot smell. They laughed and shouted, "Grandpa is legendary. Brother Chen is the king of bloodline," and Tai Sijiao published a book about his ancestors and grandsons, which shocked the whole country. Gu Sheng, a thin figure with blue hair, was shaking in his seat, his face was bloodshot, his eyes were bright, and he burst with envy. Passers-by boys swarmed up and poked at the video footage with their mobile phones, shouting, "Grandfather's relics wish for a miracle." The useless bloodline counterattacks the Golden Cup publication, and the legendary ancestors and grandsons of the Iron Four Corners worshipped the sky. The girls screamed and sprayed perfume, the skirts of their skirts flew into the nostrils, tears rolled down and they roared, "My heart is filled with excitement, and the school bell's love will last forever." Han Xiao wiped away the fog from his glasses, clapped his hands loudly, and shouted in admiration, "Double legends in the history of the school." President Jiang Chen leads the way, and the Publishing City Award is popular across the country. Jiang Chen's throat melted and the black fog dispersed. The steel fire exploded, and the pages of the notebook in the palm of the hand were warm and the pages were turned. The grandfather's ink stains hit his nose, and he answered the microphone in a low voice with a steady pulse. Huddled in the dormitory from the introverted self-esteem, candle ashes made wishes and recorded every detail. Gu Sheng's blue poison mocked the heartbreak, Qin Feng roared and quenched with the smell of sweat, Qiao Zhixia swirled the tangerine, the collision of orange and sticky electric anesthesia and self-esteem, the burning ink fragrance of teacher Han's red pen. The twists and turns of the sensory explosion turned into Youth Infinite, Invincible. The whole place buzzed and turned into dead silence, and the barrage flashed red light and dazzled, the inner confession of God. The bloodline grandfather counterattacks, Brother Chen reads itchy bone marrow to relive it. Qiao Zhixia's horse tail light elongated, her jade hands covered her lips and her eyes were moist and trembling. She murmured warmly from the residual heat of the pear vortex, the protagonist's steel heart. I love you with infinite blood. Qin Feng slapped the wood of the seat and shouted, King of Transformation. Publish a book. My postscript is burning. Gu Sheng shouted with bloodshot eyes as he grasped his fists, gorgeous and make up for the black abyss, the team will never kneel down. Jiang Chen continued to read a fragment of the notebook with shining gold characters, the black fog is overwhelming on my birthday, Gu Mo is inferior to himself. Swallowed, the misunderstanding of sweet lips by the lake shattered self-esteem, and the heart-wrenching preliminaries were won by a narrow margin, and all members of the finals came alive, grandfather's motto, record the truth, youthful transformation will burn forever. The whole place was filled with thunder, and the passerby boys trembled and punched their chests with blood-streaked roars, Grandpa's motto exploded. From loser to bloodline champion, publish a national legend and read to death. The girl's fragrant mist condensed into tears, her skirt flew up and she screamed, the collision of love and true chapter touches the new era of campus bloodline. The principal's bright-eyed eyes behind his glasses handed over a golden book of school history that was dazzlingly gilded. The broken light of the blue velvet pad crystal shone on Jiang Chen's palm and said, Jiang Chen, the history of the school will be passed down forever. Taisigio Publishing House has given the green light, and the nomination for the National Youth Award is the finale. The ringtone of the mobile phone was ringing wildly. When the publisher called, the fragrance of ink was virtual, and the editor's throat was hot, the infinite expansion of youth, legend of grandparents and grandchildren, pre-sales exceeded 10,000 the whole country is tickled, and the Iron Four Corners team is signing directly. Qin Feng Tank jumped on the stage and hugged his bones, roaring with heat and stench, Green Lantern God. The postscript roars and the whole country is burning. Gu Sheng, with blue hair, followed the slim figure's legs, steady eyes and blood, trembling with fists, gorgeous addition to the black abyss, ancestors and grandchildren are invincible. Han Xiao slapped his shoulder with a sonorous step on the platform and flashed in admiration, President leads the army, the city will win the national eternal history. Qiao Zhixia stood on tiptoe and swept her ponytail over her cheeks, her jade arms wrapped around Jiang Chen's waist. She whispered the sticky citrus hot breath to her ears with moisture, her lips lightly brushed against her cheeks, and the electric numbness and itching went straight to the bottom of her heart. The sweet aftertaste on the tip of her tongue caught the heat wave of the lamp, the protagonist of Jiang Chen's blood, misunderstood by the lake and his self-esteem was shattered. The first kiss sparks eternal love, recording every bit of my inspiration. Graduation promise, pursuing dreams and publishing, and transforming into a new youth together. Her breath was wet and hot, her heartbeat was beating like steel, and her eyes were wet and her dimples were trembling and sticky. The murmurs of the crowd turned to thunder, and the passers-by's eyes bulged and trembled, shouting, School honey is about delicate electric anesthesia. The blood will always be tickled to death, and the legend of Iron Square University will continue. The girls sprayed perfume indiscriminately, tears rolled down and screamed, the touch of sticky lips is explosive, a new chapter of infinite youth. Jiang Chen's face turned red, his pulse trembled wildly, his throat softened, he clasped his fingers back and whispered warmly, Zhixia, the notebook continues to record your eternal love, and the bloodline transforms into university fever. Qin Feng laughed, stepped back and pushed the steps, shouting, honey date plus grandfather and grandson God. Iron Four-Corner University couple is infinite. Gu Sheng Mao raised his head and envied Zhuan Jian and murmured, the true love, the new bond of the team. The warm wave of applause spread from the audience, and the live broadcast barrage flashed past 200,000 people in the night sky, Grandpa's secret plus green light to publish a book plus honey date university. Brother Chen is the king of blood, a campus legend that pulses all over the country. When the door of the auditorium is opened, a cool breeze carries the fragrance of flowers to my face. The exit is humming with the surging tide. I sit on the bench in the iron square and sit on the square bench with wooden thorns lightly pricking my palms. The earth is wet and fishy after the rain in the starry night. The final continuation of the notebook's gold-lettered poem, The Secret of Graduate Bloodline, is revealed. The green light is given to publish a book across the world. Xiaomi University's eternal love promise. Is the transformation of youth complete? The distant university admission notice rings faintly, and the red light pulses on the mobile phone screen. The city publishing house contract is signed, and the National Youth Award preliminary round invitation is given. New suspense hooks the bottom of my heart. College League, notebook continues to record new twists and turns. Qin Feng put his arms around his shoulders and roared hotly, prepare for the University Iron 4. The new competition is so exciting. Gu Sheng's slim figure whispered with bright eyes, gorgeous new students, the team has no regrets. Qiao Zhixia's arms were sticky and she smiled with tangerine heat, protagonist, a new infinity, let's record it together. Jiang Chen's steel-fire pulsating smile filled his heart, the warmth of youth burned forever, and a new legendary era quietly erupted. Qiao Zhixia glared angrily, grabbed a book and stuffed it into the girl's hand, read it. True Feelings, worth $10. The girl opened it, her eyes suddenly brightened, and her hands trembled, oh my God. Such misunderstanding of self-esteem makes my heart feel like it's being ripped off. She's more gorgeous than Gu Sheng. She screamed to pay, and the surrounding area exploded, passers-by rushing to buy. I want it too. Goosebumps after reading, plagiarism. Damn it, this is the heartbeat of the campus. Lon Mao's face turned green, and he murmured, impossible, the sales exceeded 20 copies. Qin Feng rushed over and shouted, Brother Chen's masterpiece. Buy, buy, buy. The stall was hot, and the gold coins jingled into the box.